Hello and welcome to the Computer Game Show. My name's David Turner and I'm here with Sean Bell. Matt Murray.
Hello.
And James Farley.
Hello.
Was that your Donald Duck impression, Sean?
It was supposed to be an explosion.
Oh, right. It sounded better than Matt's anyway. I really want isolated audio. Have you still got that on file, Sean?
Yeah, I think it will. Yeah, still be in the downloads folder.
Donald Duck all over the place. Matt Murray's Donald Duck. It was one of my favourite things from last week's show.
We can use it for Twitch alerts.
That is a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah, but I wish I could recreate it. We'd like to start the show by thanking our Patreon producers for this month. They are Aaron Patrick, the QuickBooks chap, Simon Nelson, Jack Oven, Moomin Biscuit, Trans Rights are Human Rights, Dave Ernsberger, Colin Brown, Gazman, Gabsy Wabsy. I can't believe I keep doing that. That's been like that for ages.
She changed that months ago.
Terrible. Rocketman76, Rex Reese, Happy Birthday Sam, Love from Neil, aka Bitch and Sink, Grey Dragon Claw, and Fred Fenge. They are the full Nels crew. They went full Nels. They're the elite. They love a bit of Major Nelson, and they love a bit of TCGS. And we love a bit of them, don't we?
We do.
We love a bit of them.
Just quickly, Neil, if you're listening, this is the last chance we've got to warn you in February that you are still giving us money. And if you
say happy birthday to
if
Sam.
you want to, that's brilliant. That's absolutely fine. I feel like every month we're like, oh God, is this a mistake?
No, every month I love it. I'm like, he's done it again.
Or just go into Patreon and change your name.
Or that.
That's an option.
No, don't do that.
There could have been, but there could have been like 6 or 7 other people he could have wished a happy birthday to.
Oh, I'm just hoping it's going to roll around another year. Like, it's fine.
Stop telling our Full Nels crew what to do, all right? They're above us, not the other way round. Patreon.com/TCGS if you'd like to support the show. And remember, if you don't, we'll fucking stop. And I think maybe one day this year we just won't put out a podcast on Wednesday. Yeah? As a warning of what might happen if you don't bloody support us. Is that too aggressive?
Can we do that this week?
Yes, we go.
No, we're already sitting down, James. I'm not getting up.
No,
again.
we're on like 3 minutes. We'll put this out, and that's it. We're done for the week. That's it.
Right, and I'm sure there's a few people saying, well, where's February's bonus show? We're getting towards the end of February.
Well, that's point.
It's coming. It's taken a bit of organising, and it's coming. It's going to be a bit different this month, but I think you're going to enjoy it. That's it for the Patreon stuff. Before we get to feedback, Matt, I've got to hear what happened to you. Now, this is a big moment for the TCGS crew. Matt, is this the first time you've done a proper speech about gaming in this sort of platform?
I believe it's called a talk, David.
Is it a talk?
Lecture.
Right, they call it a talk. I didn't know the thing. Yeah. Well, is it? So you got invited to what? Where was it?
To talk at Yorkshire Games Festival. I must admit, it wasn't me who originally got invited. It was our CEO and founder who was supposed to be doing the talk. It just then clashed with him then going to DICE. So they're like, well, we need someone to talk. And then Bobby's like, hey, Matt, do you want to do it? And I said, hell yeah, I'll do it. I'll keep saying yes to things until they blow off my face. And this one got very close to it.
Well, this is it. So I knew you were going to do it, right? And I was on... you said on Twitter or something that it was you were going to be on stage in an hour's time, and I searched the I don't know, Twitter account or whatever, and I was refreshing it to see if anyone was going to take photos because there's occasional photos of speakers up there, and I thought, okay, yeah, let's try and get a photo of Matt doing this. Like, we've got that photo of James Farley doing the lecture.
Yeah.
Where he's standing on the chair with his arms out. I thought
that is not me.
I would. I thought it would be great to have a photo of Matt, like giving one of these speeches, preferably with his arms out, like in a T pose. James has set the trend now, but maybe we get you. Oh, James, can you stand on a chair and do that pose at the live show in Sheffield?
I could probably recreate it.
Brilliant. Right, we're doing that. Great.
You need to get ownership from that, so that you need to reclaim it. So that's you, not.
I need to get a pink T-shirt
That should be easy,
Yeah,
right, in Germany?
become as cosplay as that guy. Anyway, all I know is that you said in our WhatsApp group it was a disaster. I see you mentioned on Twitter it was a disaster. I'm itching to find out what happened. Okay, so take us through what happened.
Yeah, so Yorkshire Games Festival, it was amazing to be there. It was actually at the National Media Museum in Bradford. And I didn't know until I got there that it was actually also being hosted by Jordan Erica Webber and Keith Stewart.
Oh, yeah.
So already I'm like, oh, hang on, there's some big hosts here.
Imposter syndrome setting in right off the bat.
Hold on, don't you think that every time you turn up to do this podcast? Shit,
Absolutely
Sean
not.
Bell, James Farley and David Turner on
Heavy
this.
hitters.
Fucking hell.
I'm like James and
what
Sean
the
on
fuck
this.
am I
Oh my
gonna
god!
do?
Oh no, wait, and David Chapp's there too. And I was also
Wouldn't be
thinking
here without me.
I was also thinking, it will probably just be like a tiny room, I guess. I know it's at a media museum, but I wasn't expecting big things really. But no, it was in like one of the cinema-sized rooms with a massive, massive screen. So
Do you have a Britney mic? What sort of mic did you have?
no, it was just like them two mics that come out of the top of the lectern.
Oh, right,
yeah.
okay. James would love that. God, that's James's
That's where
dream,
it's home,
isn't it?
yeah.
I do.
Yeah,
I
it's
love
a
the
cool
yeah.
element.
So anyway, I had to get there a few hours early. I went to the technical test, like the sound check. Went up to a lectern, plugged my laptop in. I got a MacBook with USB-C adapters only.
I mean, we don't need to know about adapters.
No,
I just want to hear
because
about.
I have a feeling it's going to be
because
important.
it might
yeah.
get blamed. I don't know. Anyway, it all plugged in. It was fine, brilliant. Went on the huge cinema screen. The
What did
mics
you do?
worked,
What did you do
everything
when you
worked,
did the sound test, Matt? What did you do? Did you go up there and just start saying the things
Do a
that you were
Donald
going
Duck
to say, or
impression.
were you mucking
I
about?
was
Did you
just
have a bit
having
of
a
fun with it?
conversation with the guy in the control room. Just
Okay.
he's
yeah.
like, this it's J levels.
What are
That's
you
all
up to-
good. Just
what are you up to
your
tonight?
presentation's on the screen. Brilliant. That's it.
What are you doing after this? Do you want to go? Get some foot? No. Okay, fine. 1, 2, test.
What time do you finish it?
What
Me.
time did you knock off?
That was fine. I was like, okay, nice one. I then went away, had some lunch. £8.10 for sandwich, Coke, and crisps.
Jesus.
The details that you're okay.
They're like
Right, well,
London
James-
prices, mate. That's
Anyway,
Sean
I-
reacted to it, so I'll rein it in.
Fine, isn't it? I mean,
I got back in early after lunch because the person before me was actually David Fenn from
shit.
Acid Nerve, who did
Yeah,
Death's
yeah.
Door.
Yeah.
They were
Oh my
doing a
God.
talk about basically what it means to design Death's Door with like a tiny
Did
team.
you talk to him?
No.
Did you get to talk to him? Oh man,
I mean, he
That
was
would've been
sitting in front of me before his talk, and then he was in the second row when I was having my talk. But let's not. Yeah, no, I didn't get to talk to him, but he did his talk. It was fantastic, and they're like, okay, we'll have a couple of minute break, and then we're gonna get him out on stage. I then went on stage to the lectern, plugged my laptop in, and that's when everything fell apart basically.
Oh, God.
We're plugging
come
in my laptop as I did previously.
big full screen porn behind you. Is that
Well,
it?
well, I mean,
You went to type in an address on the web address and
do
it
not
can't
open
filled it in.
Chrome. I swear
Was
to
this
God.
was it like Theresa May, like with things falling off the background and stuff like that?
Do
you
you
know?
remember that? I'd forgotten about that.
It-
The fucking
no,
letters
that-
started
struggle to
falling
remember
off.
that would
Theresa
have
May, to be honest.
detracted actually from me. But no, I was there at the lectern in front of. I mean, it wasn't full, but there's a fair number of people there, and basically we couldn't get the presentation to work.
Oh, shit.
We had one extra tech guy come up, and then 2, and then 3, and then 4. Like, can you restart the Mac? Can you unplug this? Disconnect that? Change the
Oh, no,
scaling
were you
here?
on stage
I'm on
with them while
stage.
they were trying to fix it?
Yes, I'm there just
Oh, that's
standing
the
there
worst.
while everyone's staring, and already 5-10 minutes late at that point. Anyway, 15 minutes of trying to get things working, resetting. One other person comes up and said, "Let's just unplug everything, plug it back in." We did that, and then my presentation is finally on the screen. There's a bit of a ironic, or sarcastic, round of applause, shall we say? At that point, I'm like, "Okay, God, this is a
Before you
tough one."
continue, Matt, right? That's the worst, isn't it? Because when you're doing a talk like that, you want people to look at you like an expert and all that sort of stuff.
You can't have them losing faith in you.
If you were off stage and they were trying to fix it, fine. But if you're standing there trying to help them fix it, that gives that kind of ruins that sort of here I am
And
to
it's
do my
and
speech thing,
the only
isn't it?
way to sort of preserve that authority is to not even help, right? It's just be like, well,
Yeah.
I'm an expert. I've turned up to do this fucking talk.
Yeah,
What do you mean your
what
stuff
you
doesn't
do-
do? But you're not
You
going to
grab
do that,
a
are you?
handheld mic,
Yeah.
sit on the edge of the stage with your legs dangling down, and go, "Hey, so, how are we all doing tonight? We all enjoyed it
So
tonight."
I'll let those guys behind me deal with this shit. Let's just
Yeah, exactly. That's
Well,
the
this
move,
is it. And
isn't
obviously, and if it was like, if it was us doing a live show and we're having technical issues, we'd work around it we'd try and have fun with it. But when you're actually supposed to be doing something, important, like you can't really just you can't just fuck around. Can you?
They don't get to see the panic before we do any talks over. That's where it's happening. Where Matt and Sean are working their asses off to fix any issues just before we go live, and me and James are just chatting bullshit, going, "Sean, what do you think?" And Sean's like, "Not now, Dave. Not now. I'm really trying to make sure this works." Yeah, but I didn't think of much of The Apprentice this week, guys. Go on, sorry, Matt. Yeah.
So we eventually it's eventually working. I then come off the stage for Jericho and for Erica Jordan Webber. Sorry, but although her Twitter name is Jericho, so let's say Jericho and Keith Stewart to do my introduction. So yeah, like I said, this was supposed to be Bobby's talk. So the whole talk was actually from Bobby's perspective. So I'm very much like in at the last minute, but they had a bit of an intro for me, and that was nice. And then I get up on stage, and so my talk was about how to raise investment for your indie studio, what to do, what not to do, how to talk to investors, etc. And I've already kind of embarrassed myself because I couldn't get a fucking PowerPoint to work, or Keynote, sorry. I get on stage and I say, look, straight away, first, great thing to do when you're about to do a big talk, to have 50 minutes of tech problems. That got some laughs, so already I was feeling a little bit more relaxed. Yeah. And then I said, okay, I know I've got to talk about investment now, but I just want to say, David and everyone in this room, by the way, you have to play Death's Door. It's absolutely incredible. Easily one of my games of the year from last year. Beautiful soundtrack, amazing gameplay, incredible story. Thank you ever so much. I could talk another 20 minutes about this, but I'll better talk about some investment stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, that got some more laughs. That was good. And then the presentation started, and I was about 30 seconds into the presentation when, oh no, the presentation stopped working.
Oh no.
It was flicking on.
What do you mean stop working? What happened?
It was flicking on and off. Basically, like the huge cinema screen would just go black, and it would be on for half a second, and then black.
Did you notice this, or were other people telling you this was happening?
Yeah, did you hear the gasp?
No, I noticed because it was just because it was like it was the whole cinema was going like black and white, but like the screen going on.
Yeah, you'd see
It's like strobing.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so I mean, all the practice and all the preparation I did, and in the end, it's like, I didn't foresee technical issues screwing me up. So already I'm like, oh my God, what the hell am I doing? And I'm there just on stage in front of a lectern trying to save the whole thing on my own. Anyway, I can't even remember really what I was saying, but I was just saying things to try and get through it. And I got some laughs. There's one point where it was working for a bit, and I'm like, nobody in this room move. And then it went off. I was like, some of you moved, you bloody
It sounds like you absolutely fucking nailed that.
But that was the only thing I could do. I was just like, at that point, just trying to be kind of sarcastic about it. Anyway, I kind of got in to about 9 or 10 slides. I was about 10, 15 minutes in where it's going on and off, on and off. And anytime there's like a mention about, well, whatever, investment, I was like, you'll make sure investment is as stable as this presentation. No, probably more stable than this presentation. There was another line about, I've heard that working, getting investment and working in studios about like getting punched in the face. You get punched 9 times, you get up a 10th time. And I said, do you know what world famous boxer said that? Jake Paul. Thank you. Now we'll move on.
That's a great.
So anyway, it was getting worse and worse, and then
that doesn't sound like it's getting worse and worse, mate.
The festival director came up on stage, said, Matt, how about we have the next person on? And we can fix your thing. So actually, the next person was I can't remember his name, but he's like a narrative designer at Supermassive Games.
Oh yeah.
Oh right.
So talking about all the Dark Pictures anthology and stuff. Anyway, so he came on. I went off. They had to like download because I was in Keynote on my Mac. They had to download it, put it onto put onto Windows, or make lots of changes, because obviously even if it export from one to the other, it never works properly.
Yeah, formatting
I
goes
was
weird.
stressed as hell. All the rest of the staff like, no, don't worry about it. Yeah, you absolutely killed it. You styled it out. It's fine. I'm having a mental breakdown here. This is horrendous. They were trying to offer me like donuts to cheer me up. Like, I can't have a donut now to celebrate when I haven't even.
I'd always be able to have a donut. But also, this sounds like, I don't know if you've seen the Xbox documentary on YouTube, but
No,
there's a scene in it where they're just showing off, that crazy silver X that they have.
Oh yeah.
That was a real working prototype, right? But they took 3 of them, I think, to E3 to show it off, show it working. And when they got there, none of them worked. So there was literally soldering going on backstage before they went on stage. That's what this sounds like, like the panic of getting the keynote to work.
Yeah, it was. I mean, again, like, you're nervous anyway doing these kinds of things, or presentation or pitch, whatever it is. And for this to happen as well, it's like, it's just flight or fight at that point. Anyway, we're backstage, and by backstage I mean in the cafe, sorting out a presentation. I then had to walk back down to the front while this other guy's doing his talk. At this point also, it's kind of a race against time, because I was supposed to leave at 4 to get Elodie from school. I mean, from kids club at like 5:30. I still have plenty of time, but it's a bit like, what time is it? Anyway, that guy finished his great talk. He didn't even have the opportunity to do a Q&A like everyone else, because they're like, look, Matt's got to get going really, so there's no time for you to do a Q&A. So I did tweet that guy and apologise. I didn't get a response.
Fuming.
It's like, fuck
Absolutely
you, mate.
fuming.
And then basically I got back on with the presentation, and it was a lot more dry in the second half, because it just worked really. I'm gonna try. I mean, also, I couldn't redo my gags and whatever. But I'll tell you one thing though. Right at the end, two slides from the end, it started flickering again, and I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. Sorry. I did start a second part with the difficult second presentation, which got some laughs. Anyway.
Matt, you sounded really beaten up about it, but it sounds like you absolutely nailed it.
It really does. It sounds like you did an amazing job, Matt. Seriously.
Well,
remember what happened to Jesse Wellings? That's all I'm saying. You didn't Jesse Wellings it, did you?
No. And right at the end, like the festival director, Catherine Penny, I think her name is, she was like, thanks to all our speakers, thanks to all the staff, and most of all, thanks to the king of starting out, Matt Murray, and I got a bit of a cheer.
That's brilliant.
That was good, but I was still kind of like shook about it the next day, because
No, I know what you mean.
When you do those things, it's horrible when it's like that. It's absolutely horrible, and it does stay with you for like a while. But it sounds like you did an amazing job, honestly.
It really does. Like, but I understand.
It does also sound like every episode of The Apprentice I've ever seen. When I've had to.
The woman who got me out and took me to my car said actually it happened last year with Edith Bowman. They're doing like a film festival, and she couldn't even get her podcast to play on stage. So me and Edith Bowman there, both very similar.
Okay. All right, well, that was a great story. Thanks for telling us. I honestly, you got nothing to worry about.
I did ask if I'll be allowed back next year. They did say yes, but they
haven't responded to your emails.
No, I got a lovely email actually from Catherine Penny. Yeah.
All right, nice one.
Well Matt
done,
killed it.
You. That was Matt with his first video game talk. Is that right?
Yeah, talk. Yeah.
Next up, E3. Looking forward to
your next appearance, Matt.
I'll do E3 if everything works technically.
Okay, all right. Let's get on to the feedback. Let's get on to the feedback from last week's show, shall we?
Yeah. So probably the bit of feedback we had the most correspondence about was Dave's ideas about how the Wii Sensor Bar works. We had loads, but here's Alex79 UK. The Wii Sensor Bar did literally nothing to do with reading the Wiimote. You could replace it with 2 candles and it worked exactly the same. We had a lot of messages. Dave,
what worked actually the same?
Well, the fact it didn't need it didn't. You could still do like the on-screen cursor with just two candles.
Yep.
But if it literally did nothing, was it do?
No, it said it did nothing to do with reading the Wiimote.
Don't engage him.
You see, Dave, because Dave, you were sulking about how many people were messaging us about this. But did it not maybe occur to you that if you just listened to me and James and gone, oh, okay, right, that's interesting, let's move on. maybe it wouldn't have happened.
What would have... No, because here's the thing. I mean, no, go on, read the other thing and then we'll get into it. Go on.
Oh, there isn't. I don't think we've noted another thing about this.
Oh,
Have we?
right. Okay. We've not noted anyway. Well, I got loads of messages about it. When you said you could play that game without the sensor bar, I did say, oh, right. Okay. Weird. I didn't know that. Right. Secondly, I think I just reworked. My point wasn't that the sensor bar does loads of stuff. And the worst thing I did was call it a receiver. I don't know why I called it that because it's not a receiver, obviously. But my point was that although, yes, it's only 2 lights, as you'd said, it's still part of the detection of... It's still part of that system and what it did, right?
Yeah, but only for pointer stuff.
See, because I'd also read in the week...
Dave,
when I
you're
was
still
looking it
going.
up,
Why are you still going? What's that? What is this?
listen to me, Sean. Because listen, what I'm saying is that I'd read that it also let the Wii mote could detect how far away it is from the telly based on those 2 lights.
Yeah, I guess because
case?
they would be sort of further or closer apart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it could detect the distance between the 2 lights, and that's my point. So that's how it could detect how far away it was from the telly, and the Switch can't do that. And I was worried that would affect the bowling or anything in the sports game, right?
Broadly speaking, yeah, especially in terms of Wii Sports, it doesn't need to know like an absolute distance between the Wiimote and the telly. It just registers whether it's being moved forwards or backwards or whatever.
Right, yeah. So I was saying, how does the Switch do that? And from the stuff that I was reading anyway in the week after this, I fully hold my hands up. Maybe I just worded the whole thing poorly, but I had this in my head and I was trying to explain, and then I think I just got muddled up or whatever, right? So I'm not like I fully understand it. What I don't get is the amount of people saying, it's just 2 lights, Dave. And I'm like, yeah, James said that. That wasn't what I was arguing. I wasn't arguing that it was more than 2 lights. I was trying to explain that it was part of the whole system and how movement was, detected. Look, I'm struggling again.
I can't believe you're doubling down on this.
I know.
I'm not doubling down on it. You're not listening to what I'm saying, Matt. I'm not doubling down on it. I'm just trying to explain what I was saying.
What it was the way that it sounded like you were saying this was that it was like Connect. And that it was like detecting where it was and all that kind of thing.
3D space.
Right, I can hit. I understand why you thought that, but that's not what I was saying. I was saying it was part of how it detects movement. Right.
Yeah.
That's right. How the Wii determines movement of the Wiimote. The sensor bar is part of that.
Not for the
Yeah,
not
but
most of the
in
time it
relation
isn't.
to
No, most of the time it isn't.
No, it's only for the point. It's It's for the pointer on the screen, like so that it knows the distance between the Wiimote and the screen, so then it can correctly position the pointer on the screen. It's not detecting where the Wiimote is in space and time, like at that time.
So it's not in time. So it's not detecting, right? It's detecting nothing. So let's try and change language with that. But it's not part of the system that tells the Wii how close the Wiimote is to the telly.
Yes.
You could use it for that, but yeah, in terms of games, I don't think that was ever a thing.
No.
Okay, I didn't know it wasn't part of games. I thought that games use that information of how close that Wiimote is to the telly.
I mean, some may have, but I can't remember.
That's what blew me away. So I thought Wii Sports did exactly that.
Right.
I thought Wii Sports was detecting how close that Wiimote was to the telly. That's where the confusion was. That I totally fumbled my words, but that's where I was getting from. But then also the phrase of saying it's just used as a pointer, that is not true, because I found that. I know what you did, James. You Googled that during that conversation. I found that article and it says in big bold letters it's used as a pointer, and that's what you read out. But when you go into the article, it also mentions about distance between the telly and the Wiimote.
Yeah, so it can detect where the pointers should be displayed on the screen.
Have read, yeah, but okay, all right.
Can we move on?
Yes, please.
Yes, we can move on.
Okay, Matt King. All right, lads. Hope you're doing well. Just wanted to check something from the pod this week. I might have misheard, but I'm pretty sure James said in the news that someone called Bowser had been sentenced for hacking a Nintendo Switch, and no one blinked an eye.
So, I mean,
I think because
we never discussed
had
this,
it
did
before.
we?
But we talked about it before, like this.
Yeah, we've mentioned it before.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is.
And it was just...
It wasn't a surprise to us
Yeah,
anymore.
it wasn't a
just
surprise,
kind of
and also some outlets, I'm not having a go at anyone, but some outlets had, made a joke of it. And I was just like, yeah, but a man's actually going to prison for something that I'm not entirely sure should be considered illegal. So I can't really laugh about it.
It's also, I think the best way to describe our reaction to that name is that when someone says, you're playing badminton and someone says, can you pass the shuttlecock? You don't go, shuttlecock? What? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Because you've heard shuttlecock a lot. So when
we're
you
all,
heard
we're
this
all
guy's
jaded.
name quite a bit.
We're all,
we're all jaded to it now. It's not funny anymore.
Okay, Tom Turbin, as if prompted by your request for dream correspondence last episode, I had my very own nocturnal TCGS adventure this week. In a dream, Matt, while recording the podcast no less, ill-advisedly climbed into a small toilet room attached to the back of a plane. The plane promptly took off and the room trailed behind like a tin can on a string. Matt assured the gang and the listeners that everything was going to be fine. But then an announcement came over the toilet's PA system. Human life form detected, it said. You really shouldn't be in here right now. The voice confirmed the dangers of being trapped in a tiny bathroom suspended from an airborne 747, advising him that while survival was possible, he'd better get religious just in case. At this point, the recording dropped and the sound of the relentless wind battering Matt's prison was replaced with a kind of solemn church-type music. In a somber voice, David informed the listeners that the episode had to be cut short this week and there was some terrible news he needed to share with us. I woke up and never found out what the news was, but something tells me Matt didn't make it. Appreciate you.
Dreams are insane, aren't they? They're absolutely insane. I mean, we can all relate to dreams like this, where it's just like, really, sometimes you look back on them and just go, that's a bit weird.
Yeah.
Why is that?
But at the time, nothing was out of place. It was just like,
nope.
Yeah, of course this is
all
happening.
Pretty normal.
Yeah.
Get religious.
Get religious. My word. I wonder if that dream happened. I could check the dates. I wonder if that dream happened after all the big jet TV stuff. It's got
maybe that's
flames on the brain.
Do you know, this is really weird. So I'm working on myself at the moment. I'm changing a few things in my life. And one of them is to completely block off my phone while I'm at work. Just completely, not even going anywhere near it. God, that was the wrong thing to do on Friday. Lunchtime rolled around. I went on Twitter. It was like, what the fuck is Big Jet TV and why is everyone talking about it? It was crazy. I missed everything, basically. Man. And by the time I watched it, the winds had calmed down a bit and it was just planes landing. It was a bit boring. But, yeah, bit of a nuts thing that was.
Okay. Garrison Savannah. Just wanted to give a shout out for the amazing YouTube thumbnails for the Nuzlocke streams. Matt is killing it with them. The most recent one is especially good. I have to ask, does Matt think that the very important Pokemon that died was Zumat, his namesake? No, I hadn't watched it when all the ones died, and I just said, Sean, some had died, right? And he said, yes,
there was a number of losses the other week. Zumat was made a very noble sacrifice. I basically had to chuck him out so that I could heal the only Pokemon that could actually win the fight for me. And Zumat just got annihilated in. Oh no, he took 2 hits. That was the amazing thing because we thought he was only going to take 1 hit. But then he survived the first hit, and it was like, oh my god, Zumat's a fucking hero, but he still has to die. Sorry.
Was there part of you thinking that maybe Zumat is like Almat, where Zumat might accidentally kill someone with his first punch he's ever thrown in his life?
Oh yeah,
that's
true.
Part
that
of
could
that
have been. Yeah,
it's very possible.
Real risk.
While we're talking about Pokemon, right? Charlie started to show an interest.
Oh yeah.
And I put the cartoon on for him. Yeah. And there's like this anti-Pokemon group that are like, is promoting abuse on animals and all this sort of stuff, right? I watched like a couple of episodes of the old cartoon, and there's literally a scene in it where Team Rocket are kicking the shit out of the cat. Really, genuinely. I was like, I kind of see it.
Have you,
actually,
wait till you get to the episode
like
where there's that guy who basically like tortures his Pokemon, and his Sandshrew wears like a little sort of bondage thing.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
It's fucking weird.
Maybe I'm going to stop putting that on for Charlie in the morning.
But the point of the episode is that that's just their relationship and you shouldn't judge them.
Okay.
Okay. Wish I was making this up. But yeah, I mean, there's fucking loads of Pokemon cartoons. You could probably put him on one of the more recent ones, which are less likely to feature bondage game.
Well, I tried him. There's a 3D film on Netflix. Yeah, about Mewtwo.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
about Mewtwo.
Oh yeah, yeah.
on it.
Mewtwo Strikes Back or
Yeah,
one
he
of
was
those.
petrified of the opening to that.
Yeah, Mewtwo's pretty fucking scary for kids. Don't really know what they were thinking,
Is
to
it?
be honest.
Okay. I don't know what that- yeah. Okay.
I mean, what age rating is Detective Pikachu?
It's an 18.
Yeah.
It's a really grim shit.
Mostly because of Mr. Mime.
It's fucking terrifying.
It's silky skin.
Yeah.
Okay, Christian Baker, just wanted to say how much I've enjoyed James's Dark Souls 2 streams. I also like to add that James got significantly better at dodging in the last third of the game. I remember tons of instances where James would never roll into enemies, always backwards, and it drove me mad. Watching the last few streams, it's clear he's made the adjustment. James also seems adamant he's not doing the DLC. Maybe give it a few months. It's some of the best stuff in the game. Cheers, James. And that's from Christian Baker.
Thank you. That's really nice because I want to talk about it later, but I, in general, I've really enjoyed my time with that game. I ain't doing the DLC though. That's not.
Where are you going to go from here?
I was going to say, I mean, obviously you're entitled to a week or two off at least, but have you thought about?
Sean has sanctioned that.
No, all it is because I thought the exact same thing. Like, oh, brilliant! I wonder what he's going to do next. And it's like, no, hang on. If it was me, I would definitely. Tell you to fuck off if you were.
Are you considering Dark Souls 3?
Well, yeah. I mean, eventually I'm going to do that. I'm not doing it
It's
immediately.
really good,
though.
James.
Well,
I know.
Here's
I've
a
heard.
good one.
I've heard that it's excellent. And so I mean, it's funny because actually, when I finished Dark Souls 2, I felt quite sad in a way that it was over because I really did enjoy it. I thought it was brilliant. I really did. But I'm going to go back for 3 at some point. But I'm going to stream this week. But it's going to be something completely different, which is not completely different because it's. I'm going back to the Dark Pictures anthology.
Oh no!
I'm going to play the most recent one of those.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Is that the one with the 2 radio hosts?
No. Oh no! I'm never going back to that ever again.
What was the Dark Pictures anthology then?
That's the one that was, there was like Man of Medan, and then there was also the other one.
Oh
That's,
yeah. I remember that. Yeah. No,
it's
do
the
one
one
of them.
from Until Dawn or whatever. But I'm gonna play another one of those this week.
Cool.
That's my plan.
Cool. Looking forward to that.
Before I play something I enjoy again, so I'm gonna play that first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Next.
Okay, next message is from 100 Dozen Fractured Soup Bowls. Now, before I read this is the person who, after his their last bit of correspondence, what proceeded from that was that we did the milk race. So I'm just scared of whatever this is going to be. Anyway, when we were 20, my friends and I had a similar realization to Matt that none of us had been in a proper fight. So we cleared all the furniture out of my mate's front room, got some pairs of boxing gloves, and made a 4-fight lineup. Getting hit properly in the head was somewhat jarring, but what really did it for me was that I was so unfit that waving my arms about rendered me completely breathless after a minute. Fortunately, the other guy was equally unfit, so while the second round was just us slowly circling and panting, in the third round, he socked me hard in the face again, and I thought, fuck this, then conceded. That was the last time I was in a fight. Anyway, I'm just saying, it's really easy to organise mutual beatings, and the live show in Sheffield is a golden opportunity. Alternatively, instead of a fight night, do the yo-yo challenge. Oh no, did the yo-yo challenge for 2020 ever come to pass? Maybe stick that in the live show instead.
It didn't. We're working on the live show stuff. We got some ideas. I am slightly concerned because Ian was saying the other night that Laser Quest is actually absolutely shattering.
Oh yeah.
So I've got a feeling we're going to be in trouble when we get on stage. Just sweating.
I was going to say, I'm going to go back to the hotel for a
Yes,
shower.
I was about to say, yeah,
I mean,
I'm definitely going back for a shower.
That room is going to stink.
Yeah, I'm going back for a shower, 100%. But I'm worried about what sort of physical shape I'm in now. Sure,
it's time
I
for a training montage, isn't it? I think.
Also, I'm also slightly worried because we've got a gun fanatic amongst us.
That's true.
So James Farley is going to turn up like, in Spaced, where Mike turns up for paintball.
In full regalia.
I just pictured James.
Oh yeah. Right.
I just pictured James just sulking this. Oh, it's not like the real thing, though, is it? You're not really shooting people. What's the point?
Is there recoil? Yeah. That's what I want to know.
Are we done with feedback?
No, we've got more. Gary Doot, the cutest fruit, it says here. And I feel a bit sick. Hello, lads. Just wanted to chime in on Sifu. Master. I enjoyed it a lot, but I didn't think it quite hit the mark. And I think all right about its flaws. As you know, when you die and you age, your health goes down, but your damage goes up. The idea being that you've aged, so you're more vulnerable, but your knowledge of Kung Fu is better, so you can land deadlier blows. It doesn't work, because although your character has more knowledge in terms of the story, you as a player do not. More damage is no use if you can't land hits, and less health means you just die faster to the thing you're struggling with. So the game's central gimmick doesn't really work. It's a shame because that central combat system leads to amazing looking encounters that I've not seen in any other game, but I feel like they got that right, then struggle with the feedback and communication side of things. Hopefully the easy mode allows players to experiment and learn the systems more freely without being too punished. Right, that's me. Keep up the good work from Doots.
All right.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that easy mode coming, so I will go back to it then. But
Have
I'm
they
probably not going
confirmed
to
they're
go
actually
back
doing it
before
yet?
Yeah,
they're sort of...
it's definitely happening. It's just there's no
Definitely
date yet on when it's happening.
Right,
And,
okay,
yeah,
fine.
I'm waiting for that as well.
Okay, we're going to end with Sam Salmon. Love the show, but sorry, chaps, I don't get the disdain for Klonoa on last week's show. At 56 minutes, 38 seconds, Lord Farley could barely bring himself to pronounce the title, audibly losing all interest before getting to the end of the word. I suspect you will find the shorts with a belt look distasteful, but please pay respect to the best platforming icon with long ears. Peace, from Sam Salmon.
I've never even heard of it before.
You never heard of
It's
Klonoa?
one of those
Haven't
games. It's one of those games that people say it's surprisingly good. You know, it's like
for some
we're expecting
reason,
it.
for some reason, Klonoa's never had the impact of like other 3D or 2D or 3D platformers. But I mean, I played a bit of one on, I think it was on the Game Boy Advance, and and it was like, oh, this is really good. This is all right. So yeah, I don't know. I can't remember which one this is that's being ported to the Switch, but yes, people are really excited about it.
Okay, well, good for them.
Wasn't Klonoa the game that during one of those Summer Games Done Quick thing where there was like a big thing?
Did it again. You barely got to the end of the title before you gave up then.
I know.
It's fucking whatever he's called. Sorry, James, go on. What were you...
Was he what, James?
Wasn't Klonoa the game that was being played during one of those really awkward Summer Games Done Quick events?
Possibly, I can't remember.
Oh, was that the one where he goes... No, it wasn't that, no. I'm thinking of the one where he says, I would really prefer you to be quiet.
I think it is that. I'm pretty certain it is that.
It's not. It's definitely not.
Was it not?
Is it? I don't know. It's got the wit. No, because it's a caveman game, I think.
No.
Something
I
like
think
that.
it was Klonoa. Go back and watch. I'm pretty certain it was.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
That's it for feedback. If you want to leave us feedback, go to tcgs.co/dear-tcgs.
Let's get to the news. James Farley.
Okay, Nintendo are upsetting everyone again. Because
They had one good week, didn't they? They had one good week.
So basically, they're going to be stopping people being able to buy stuff from the Wii U and 3DS eShops next year. That's going to end.
I mean, the Wii U. I don't ever think this is a good thing, but the Wii U, obviously, I sort of get it. But the 3DS, surely there's still quite a few of them knocking around.
Definitely.
Yeah, I thought the 3DS was still going about, wasn't it?
And there's an awful lot of games on there as well.
Yeah.
And the biggest problem with this is that you can re-download previous purchases for the foreseeable future, but then obviously that doesn't mean anything because they'll shut that down probably eventually as well. And so you can't use credit cards with the store. But then the biggest problem is that there's quite a lot of games, particularly on the 3DS, that you can't get in any other way. Like there's loads of games which obviously there was a physical release and a download one, but on the 3DS there's like 450. No, this is the Wii U has got 450 digital only eShop games, and that's excluding like virtual console stuff as well. Mm-hmm. So there's a fair amount of stuff there. But for the 3DS, there's even more. There's it's over 600 games that are completely download only that are just going to disappear and are just going to be basically gone.
I'm not being funny, but guess what, Nintendo? This is why people hack your fucking consoles. Because if you're rendering things literally completely unavailable otherwise, go on, sorry.
Even like the virtual console stuff, like 350 of the games that are available on these, like the Wii U and 3DS, aren't available on the Switch stuff. Like that's quite a lot of games that are just no longer available. I mean, even stuff like the Phoenix Wright games that came out, they were only released digitally, like in the West, so they'll be gone as well. I mean, you can play those on iOS, but
that's the maddest thing, isn't it? Is that you could say, well, they might want to resell those on other systems.
But they're not.
When are they going to release a system that has a 3D screen inbuilt and 2 screens in it?
Yeah,
They're never going to do it again, are they? So,
and this is because this is the double-edged sword of Nintendo doing like unusual and interesting hardware, isn't it? Like, it's no problem for an Xbox to play the last 3 generations of Xbox games, but a Switch can't do 3DS games. It can't really do, well, it could probably do DS games. It'd look weird. But do you know what I mean? They're so
sensor bar either,
different.
is it?
No sensor bar, exactly. You can't play any Wiimote stuff.
Any games on it.
But yeah, like it's the differences are too fundamental, which is why it's crucial that you continue to support the hardware, even if it's, you know, in a really limited way. Like, I'm not saying there needs to be new 3DS games, but surely leave the lights on in the shop, for fuck's sake. But...
So I'm confused about this. All the headlines say you can't buy it from next year, but actually it says you can't actually buy it from this year. So from May 23rd, 2022, you can't use credit cards. And from late August, you can't use eShop cards. So after those dates, up to 2023, how can you buy games anyway?
Yeah.
Well, you can't unless you've got...
no
need to call you that.
Yeah.
So it's actually this year and actually from May. So it's no time at all, really.
So I guess
so get your vouchers.
Because obviously...
Get your vouchers in.
Well, yeah. I mean, so I guess their main concern, obviously they've got to leave the servers on. That's a thing. And they've got to remain secure. And also, I guess it's the handling of payments must be a real sticking point as well for them.
I think even leaving it there, that's the biggest problem is with the servers, like leaving those on, because it's this constant security updates and all that kind of thing that they'll need to be doing. I mean, also this is Nintendo. I can't imagine that they probably invested a huge amount of money in like high quality, sort of stuff in the first place.
Can I make a request of our listeners? If you've got access to one of these shops before it goes down, could you go onto it and find like some interesting prices and like email in? Like, I'd love to know how much like the most expensive game on there is, or like how much Nintendo are charging for like Mario games on that.
I was going to say, I'm guessing all the
they're still full price.
Yeah, all the first party Nintendo stuff will still be like 50 quid or something.
That's what I'm fascinated about. Could you check that for us and send an email in with some interesting finds? Because I think that'd be like, is there a sale section? And if so, what the fuck is on sale on those systems at the moment? I'd love to know that.
There's no way they'll put anything on sale because they know the hardcore will be trying to scoop up as much as possible.
How much is it down to them for third-party games, though?
I assume third parties can set their own. I don't know.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So what if like a bunch of third parties just said, okay, well, the store's closing down, so the last week before it closed down, everything's free.
Yeah.
That would get you... Oh, if you work for a company and you got games on there, that'd get you a bit of publicity.
It would.
Like a week or so before the shop shuts, give away everything for free.
If a number of publishers did that, I would probably buy another 3DS. Just to hoard a load of stuff and then be like...
Just to hoard a load of stuff on there and keep it.
I mean, I've got a 3DS, but I'll let Isaac have a go on it and the screen's fucked, so...
I was going to ask, do any of you still have your Wii U's or 3DSs and you actually go jump on and buy some stuff that you can't...
I've still got both, but I mean, the Wii U's in a drawer, and Asher plays with...
big drawer.
Asher plays with the 3DS still, though. He still plays on that sometimes.
How much is a 3DS if I wanted to buy one today?
I bet they're still
currently unavailable.
More than you would think. Definitely go for a new one if you can, as in new 3DS, not.
Yeah, because the battery.
I'm just looking on Amazon though.
Wrecked on them.
Yeah, no, they seem pretty unavailable on that particular store. Okay. Next.
Okay, so the next story is that Nintendo obviously. Okay, so we had the Switch Sports event over this weekend. And they forbid people from talking about it. Like you weren't allowed, it's like so. The sign-up page on the playtest stated this. They said, by downloading and participating in the Nintendo Switch Sports online playtest, you agree not to publicly share any details from this online playtest, including on your social media channels. Wow. And so the playtest featured, it was like tennis, bowling, and Chimbara, and it was live over the weekend for like 45 minutes.
Are you allowed to say that?
Yeah, no, that's
Are we allowed
on the
to say
website.
that we played it, though?
I think you're allowed to say if you played it, but...
Oh, I've played it. You all played it?
Yeah,
I've played it and I have no views on it.
Whoa, we're dicing with legal issues here, boys. That's a bit much, isn't it? I mean, you can kind of guess, right? Like you can kind of understand it as a developer or someone working on a game, and you're putting this out because you need to test the servers and stuff, but at the same time you want to make it clear that it's not representative of the final product. It's still being worked on, so you don't want people passing judgment.
Well, you say that it's only out in like a month and a bit's time. This isn't like
my point, right?
An alpha from like 6 or a year away.
I get that, but my point is this, right? Even though you might have those feelings, you've got to understand that the price that you pay for putting out and asking people to take part in this survey is that people are going to talk about it. Do you know what I mean? Like, and trying to stifle that just seems
it's
like
free marketing.
Stupid.
Free marketing a month or so before the game's out. Like, why wouldn't you have everyone talking about the game?
Yeah, it's weird.
Unless they really weren't sure, and if they really weren't sure, then they should push the game back.
Yeah, like it sounds like
one or the other.
It comes across as if they think it sucks. Basically,
it does. It absolutely does. Yeah.
Don't say that. I thought. Sorry,
Are you saying the game sucks?
I was going to say. I thought you were saying the game sucks.
Oh
no, I said it sounds
Call
like
the police.
Oh, it's no. Excuse
me.
Got
a leak,
officer.
Excuse me, officer. Through the window.
I said it sounds like that's what they're saying by putting that message out there, Sean.
Get the slammer.
Right. Yeah,
it's classic Nintendo. I mean, I don't.
Yeah,
get
just
just completely oblivious to how the world works.
Yeah, exactly.
They never leave their offices, so they've got no idea. Okay, fine.
Okay, next story is that Ubisoft are saying they can still go it alone. So a while ago, Vivendi tried to buy Ubisoft, and they always were like, "We want to remain independent." But then Ubisoft just had like one of their quarterly earnings call. And it was brought up, like, this whole issue of consolidation, like, in the video games industry. And they talked about how, they emphasise how, like, Ubisoft assets have never been so strong and, they were, like, highly valued and all that kind of thing. But then Yves Guillemot said, "We've always taken our decision in the interest of our stakeholders, which are our players, employees and shareholders, so Ubisoft can remain independent. We have the talent, the industrial and financial scale and a large portfolio of powerful IP. Having said that, if there were an offer to buy us, the board of directors would of course review it in the interest of all our shareholders." And that was that. So it kind of looks like they're like, please, can you buy us? Oh, because we want out.
We get one of those sweet Activision Blizzard deals, please.
Yeah, I think that's what they're after. Yeah.
I don't know if I want anyone to buy them. I'm not a massive fan of Ubisoft games currently.
No,
they had a bit of a resurgence, obviously, when Rainbow Six come out, and they brought out a couple of games around that period that were pretty good. But as a whole, I haven't enjoyed their output for a number of years now.
Well, this is it. Like, when all the obviously all the abuse stuff came out, like I'm not going, I'm fucking boycotting Ubisoft games because I wasn't buying any anyway. Like, I'm still not buying them. I probably would have picked up the Scott Pilgrim re-release. But other than that, it's not like, do you know what I mean? I can't claim it's some great sacrifice I'm making because I don't know.
I still reckon this is going to end up with Microsoft buying them. I think it's really likely. Yeah.
Do you think?
I think it's going to happen. I
would be more excited. Maybe I'm an idiot. I probably am an idiot in the wider scale of things, but I'd be more excited if Microsoft bought Sega.
Yeah, but that's not going to happen.
I know it's not going to happen, but like, just them having access to those, like, the games that Sega have in their back catalogue is just.
Yeah, but they'll have access to the Rabbids, Dave. If they
Assassin's Creed.
You need Sega Rally when you got the Rabbids. The Rabbids.
Yeah.
Are we being too harsh? I actually quite like that launch Rabbids game for the 3DS. Did any of you play it?
I didn't.
Some Rabbids in Time or something. That wasn't a bad platformer.
And Mario and Rabbids is really good.
Yeah,
I never got into it.
It's like you could say, "Oh, it's XCOM for children." I would say it's XCOM with a lot of needless shit stripped out.
I'll never forget James playing that on a trip home from Matt's place once and getting so frustrated with it in the car as we were driving back. Like, you would sit there just go, "Fuck this! Fuck that sake!"
That's true. I did get a bit of rage from that game.
You were like, "Yep." Oh, this is ridiculous. Flying down the
Of course.
M4 at 70 plus, at 70 tops.
70 tops, yeah. If Microsoft were to buy Ubisoft, they would have the really vibrant, incredible IP such as Skull and Bones.
Oh my god.
Beyond Good and Evil 2, and Tom Clancy's X-Defiant, free huge licenses. Roller Champions as well.
We take the piss though, but someone owning Assassin's Creed would be quite big.
Yeah,
it?
Also they make a big
Dance.
deal as well out of Beyond Good and Evil 2. Like they'll say, we're bringing. That's our, our olive
It's actually
branch.
happening.
we had to look in
Yeah,
the
but how many
Ubisoft
times have we
offices.
heard we're bringing it back?
I was going to say, they'd be like, look, we had to look around the Ubisoft offices. No one's fucking working on it, but we've.
yeah. That would be the interesting thing, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
With these announcements, they have a sort of like a, what do they call it? Don't get Dom style thing where they turn up with cameras into the office and start like, oh, we own you now. What are you doing? We're shoving the camera in their face and we all get to watch it on Twitch. Yeah. Out. You're fired. You're fired. No, that's actually a real horrible thing that happens. So I'm not going to make light of that. But it's, I would like to watch that. Should we move on?
Yeah. So Cyberpunk 2077 had the next gen update, which went live. So
Certainly did.
yeah, I mean, Sean, you watched the whole video for this, didn't you?
I watched most of it. Yeah, it was a very strange broadcast because, overall, right, it was good, and I think the patch is. I mean, we'll get onto that obviously, but I was watching it, and I said only a few weeks ago that I was still quite sort of, that there was murmurings that the next gen patch was going to be due soon, and I was like, look, I played it the other night and there's still problems, there's still bugs and stuff. What was really interesting with this presentation, stream, whatever, is that they went straight into here are gameplay things we have tweaked, which...
Well, no, they went straight in with a 10-minute fucking demo, didn't they? Because that's when I tuned out.
So they were demonstrating look, the pedestrian behaviour's better now. The fact, look, and it was all stuff that wasn't exciting, and it's stuff that everyone in the chat was like, oh, GTA did this in 2012, which is valid, but also we all took the piss out of Cyberpunk for not doing these things. So what do you want? I was intrigued because it looked like it wasn't just bug fixes, right? It was actual quality of life improvements and little tweaks, the skill system was never great, and they've completely overhauled that and stuff. So I was like, yeah, do you know what, none of this is exciting headline stuff, but this will add up to make a difference, real difference to how this game plays. But it was they're going, oh yeah, hey, we're going to get in a vehicle, we're going to show you we've fixed the viewing angle, when you're driving in first person. And one of the devs is there going yeah, because I used to get in a car and I couldn't fucking see shit, and it was it was okay.
But wait, he was ripping into the
game, mate. Yeah.
This game used to be wank.
And I'm all I'm all for...
That's what a great idea that is,
it's
to have a troll live on stage with them.
Yeah, it's on the one hand, it's sort of man, you're just shitting on your own game, but also I guess at least he was being honest, I suppose.
I guess they've got to accept it. They've got to kind of lean into
That's
it.
what I mean. Yeah, it's a way of owning it, I suppose. But,
Sean, you work for CD Projekt Red, right? You're in a boardroom.
Wow, congrats, Sean.
Well done, Sean. You told me. You work for CD Projekt Red. You're in a ballroom. They're talking about how to present this video, and then someone turns around and goes, "Why don't we have one of our devs slating the old version while we're showing the new version off?" Who's going to say no? That's a bad idea. I'd be like, yeah, absolutely. That sounds fucking hilarious. Get it done. Get it done. I'd be all over that. That'd be great.
But it was weird, wasn't it? Because they didn't actually. They were talking about the 1.5 patch, but they didn't officially say anything about the next gen upgrades until basically the very end. And then it was sort of mixed new. Well, I mean, I think most of us saw this coming, but basically, so even your PS5 and your Xbox Series X are only getting or only got ray tracing for what they call local shadows.
That's right,
and that's only in 30 FPS mode. I mean, don't get me wrong, game looks fucking incredible without ray tracing. But the main nice thing about having ray tracing on is the reflections in the puddles and glass and stuff. So
especially in that sort of environment,
exactly,
where it's all
about. Local shadows, whatever. Personally, I would go for the 60 frames. The Series S.
Have you seen the backlash to ray tracing on?
No.
On various different platforms. A lot of people just saying, see, you don't need ray tracing. It's not that great. And I want to go, no, like, you don't have to have it. It is fucking amazing, though. But I would rather a game run smoothly than... And not have it.
I think there is an argument that in some cases it makes more sense for a game to be built around not having it. But then there are examples of it. It means that the
game's going to run better.
Yeah.
Then write it off. That's fine. Yeah. But let's not try and pretend that ray tracing isn't fucking incredible.
Yeah.
Sit down and play the I did it again this week. I just put the Spider-Man remaster on with the ray tracing 60 frames. And it's all right. It's not high fidelity ray tracing that you would get if you knocked it down to 30 frames. But my word, it still makes an incredible difference. It looks stunning on the PS5, that game. Shit. Sean, have you tried it yet?
Yeah. I've finished it.
What, on the PS5?
Oh, sorry, I thought you were talking about Cyberpunk. Sorry, no.
No. I'm talking about, have you tried the ray tracing stuff in Spider-Man Remastered on the PS5?
No, I have not.
Honestly, it makes such a huge difference that, let's not kid ourselves and say ray tracing isn't a good thing, because it really fucking is. It looks incredible.
That's why, what's it called? Ratchet had the best option, didn't it? Because it was like performance mode
plus
ray tracing.
Although I think it works better in... I think it showed off what ray tracing did better in Spider-Man, because you are like swinging past those
giant mirrored buildings, basically.
Giant mirrored buildings, and it just looks absolutely unbelievable.
Obviously, when these consoles were announced, it's all like 120 frames or 60 frames and ray tracing. Clearly, it's very clear now they can't do that all bells and whistles.
Yeah,
do you think
of course.
In a few years that would ever be possible, or are we now just have to wait for the next generation?
No. It'll be next gen. But like, I mean,
when they make all the promises again, doesn't quite do it. I mean, like the 120 frame stuff. I mean, I've got a TV that does 120 frames. I've tried it a bunch of times on games, and it just means the resolution is so low. It looks shocking. I mean, I tried it on Dirt 5, and it did feel weird, and it felt so fast because 120 frames, but just graphically, it's just like the downgrade is absolutely not worth it. There's another game I played only recently, I can't remember what it was, where 120 frames, amazing, I give it a go, but it looked just muddy as hell. It's like, this is absolutely not worth it.
I know this isn't really what you want, but get Hollow Knight on, man, because that was 120 frames. That looks stunning.
Oh, yeah, okay. I don't know, that's on the list anyway, but...
Yeah.
I mean, Matt, you've got to remember that the PS4 Pro was announced as being the 4K machine, and it never did native 4K, so we're kind of used to...
So we're going to be waiting for our third generation, I guess the PS4 Pro, what like out of generation? Kind of a generation. We're waiting for like 2.5 generations until we maybe actually properly get what they suggest,
We'll get there.
But maybe we never will, because they'll always be pushing it. They'll always be pushing more things. So maybe we'll never get to the hollowed 4K 60.
This does not sound like Matt Murray.
It doesn't.
I'm just being realistic.
Downtrodden Matt Murray.
I will say on this, so I played it and I tried on both, and I mean, I went on for the 60 frames mode because it was just way smoother.
Yeah, I mean, it's worth noting...
We'll get to the Cyberpunk chat and our reactions to it when we get to what you've been playing, right? So, because I think we've all been trying that.
Yeah, I was just going to say, also, worth noting, the Series S only has a 30 frames mode. Obviously,
apparently they're looking into that.
Yeah, because it's 30 frames at 1440p, and it's like, well, I'd happily drop to 1080 if that helps. I mean, maybe it doesn't.
Yeah, that's kind of why people chose the S, right? That I can only mainly because they haven't got 4K TVs.
Yeah, I can only assume that even at 1080, it wasn't like a consistent enough 60 frames for them to like offer it as a mode. But and I mean, there was other there's other new stuff. You can get other apartments, and it's really weird though. They really liberally use the term DLC. Right, because they're doing this demo, and like they approach like the gun shop, and this guy starts getting all animated, going, "Oh yeah, this is where we added some of the new DLC," and I'm like, "Oh, what the fuck? What sort of DLC? 2 new guns."
Yep.
I'm like, okay, I wouldn't really call that DLC, but all right.
No, that's original Xbox era of DLC, isn't it?
So we'll get on to discussing this properly. But overall, this was surprisingly positive, I thought.
Okay, all right. Is that it for the news?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Cool. We've all had an exciting week this week. We've all popped along to Center Parcs.
Yeah.
And, did you have a good time?
Mostly. Yeah, mostly. I mostly had a good time.
What do you mean mostly? What's the matter? What's wrong with Center Parcs, James?
I don't know. I mean, there were certain facilities I thought were not as fun as others. I think.
What was your favourite facility?
I don't know. I mean, I enjoy tennis. Obviously, I mean, I think tennis at Center Parcs is
always good, though, isn't it? I think that's a safe bet. You can always, when you start, you get that racket in your hand, mate. You're always going to have a good time.
Mm-hmm. It was good. I couldn't quite get the serve right, but it was still really, really fun. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What, like the serve? You changed the way you serves since you'd last played, or what?
Well, no. I mean, in the past when I played tennis at Center Parcs years ago, I could get the power serves really, really good. Aces galore, but I just couldn't really quite nail that this time. But it's always good tennis,
mm-hmm.
isn't it?
Did it switch up the technique? Like, were you trying something different, or was it the same action?
It felt like it was largely the same, but for whatever reason, I couldn't quite make the connection.
I felt that when I was trying to add spin to my ball, I couldn't quite pull it off like I used to. It wasn't quite the same.
Wasn't quite happening for you.
Yeah.
See, because we didn't have time to do tennis. Like, Harry played a bit of tennis and he enjoyed it. Like, you could see he was having a fucking whale of a time. But then we had to move on. But I did try bowling, and I was a massive fan of bowling last time I was at Center Parcs. And,
I mean, bowling at Center Parcs is basically an all-timer. It is. It's bloody good.
The best place to bowl.
Yeah.
But when this was my main concern, because it'd been a long time, and I tried bowling elsewhere before, and it was nowhere near as good. So when I got here, I was like, please, just be as good as it was back then. Like, I really want to enjoy this. I did not enjoy it.
Did you not?
Really? I didn't enjoy it. It was okay, right? They did this thing where we were playing with a load of other people in the bowling alley, and I thought that was great. I thought that was a great idea. It was a really fun thing to do, and I really got into it, trying to out bowl everyone else in the bowling alley. Like, we were all competing against each other, but it just didn't feel right to me. And I don't know if that's just me, like, misremembering how much I enjoyed bowling back in the day, or that maybe there was some sort of adaptation to the bowling technique involved because of everyone competing against each other. And actually, if I went back there on my own, I'd actually nail it and quite enjoy it.
I think it just changes when you're playing bowling against those other people. It just, you obviously can be faster. It's not going to feel like the potential nice relaxed experience it was when I played it at Center Parcs years ago.
Yeah, it felt like you were racing against everyone else, didn't it? It was quite a there's like that timer constantly. You had to 15 seconds to bowl each time.
Yeah,
and that
15
was,
seconds.
Yeah, that was weird.
But that was the problem, though. When I was trying to spin to the left, there were times where it would just go to the right. And that never used to happen. You always felt like you had proper control over it last time.
See, I reckon that's all in your wrist, Dave. I think it's all in your wrist.
So what? Right? Maybe I'm just holding the ball incorrectly before I bowl.
Maybe. I think it might be.
I don't know if it is, James, because I've been to Center Parcs recently and use the same techniques, smashing spins, getting strikes galore. Went the last few days with you lot, and it just. The same moves I was making just a few weeks ago at a previous Center Parcs, it just wasn't working. Okay. So clearly things have changed.
I think it's just because you're playing it in this huge Center Parcs group. I think that's probably one of the reasons.
What makes you think that, though? Why would they change the way you bowl just for that?
Well, no, because in the past, there were different options in the way that you would want to bowl there. Like there were other options as well.
Yeah, but you never had to change. You never had to change your style. The style that you turned up with was perfect, and you never had to change anything.
Yeah, but that style was not always very popular with a lot of people, actually.
I don't agree with that at all. I've never heard of anyone going to Center Parcs and changing the settings at all.
No way. Absolutely no way.
That's fucking nonsense, James. You're talking bollocks there.
I just think that you're over-egging the issues here.
I thought the bowling was fine for what it's worth. I was curving shots and stuff and felt really good, and I came second. That felt nice.
Yeah, I came third. I came third in my game.
I got nowhere near that.
What's it? Where did you come, James?
I got to the semi-finals once, and I was gutted because I thought, get a cake or something at the end, but yeah, didn't happen.
I get a cake.
Did anyone else have a go on the Chambara?
Yes, I did. Yeah, that felt really responsive.
Yeah, I thought it was good.
Chambara was new to Center Parcs.
It is. Yeah. It's just added. It's I was really surprised that there's like different, like, so there's the normal like sword. It's not really a sword, obviously. You don't want to go to Center Parcs and start fucking stabbing people, or maybe you do. I don't know. I'm not judging. But then there was like a charge one, which is like relies on you, like you have to block a number of hits and it like charges up. But then there's like a dual swords as well. I didn't get a chance to try it out though.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I never changed swords. I just stuck with a standard one.
Yeah. But I mean, I thought this was really good fun. I won a few bouts of it. I played against one guy who was just kind of flailing his sword around all over the shop, and it actually sort of worked. Like he was actually quite able to reliably block my hits, but I did win in the end. So yeah, no, I thought this is good fun.
See, I had a Neville Southall moment with this because I got quite into this, and I was like, hacking away, and I won. And then Chen was like, "Well done, she's 6 or whatever."
Like Michael Owen volleying balls from 3 yards out at a 14-year-old.
Yeah.
So, like, what were there any other activities? Because they're the only ones we tried.
I think that's all.
It was really limited, wasn't it?
Yeah.
There was like a really limited set of like activities available that weekend.
I think they're doing like refurbishment, but I believe when all that's done, there's going to be loads. But I was happy. with what I tried out. Yeah, the Chambara. I had a few games. Won some. It was fine. I don't think I'll need to go back.
I think it'd be interesting to see how that develops as like more people have a go, and if there's actually like a competitive scene around
some
it.
Sort of
I mean, and just
I think I can't judge Center Parcs on this one trip because like the thing is that I don't like playing I'm not there to play activities with random people.
Yeah.
Like I want to be playing it with my family, and that's it.
Yeah.
Exactly,
So I'm pretty sure I'm going to Center Parcs later this year.
But the thing is about that I found weird, because obviously it's all been refurbished, and I'm sure there's a sign that said actually when everything's working, you can't even play with more than like one family member. Which why can't I have 4? Why can't there be 4 of us playing together? What's that about?
Yeah, but in reality, you're not going to be wanting to play like with another group of people at Center Parcs, are you? Like you're going to be just wanting
when
to
you're
play
playing with your family, you're just going to want to be playing with your family, aren't you?
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. Or you just take in turns or whatever.
Anyway,
Center Parcs is good.
It was. Did anyone else think the new sports complex was really gorgeous? Like, just looked amazing.
Oh my god, yeah, it looked lovely. I love what they've done with the place. Yeah,
really nice.
I was a little bit disappointed, but I'm reserving judgment until I get a full proper experience of it. Right, okay, let's move on because there's been 2 other big releases this year. I mean, we've already mentioned this week.
This week.
We've already mentioned Cyberpunk, so let's talk about the Cyberpunk update before we get onto Horizon. Because this come out at the worst possible time for me. Like, it killed me when they announced.
I mean, worst possible time for everyone.
Yeah.
I don't know why they did it at this time.
AAA month
made no sense
because fiscal year. That can be, that's the only reason why they would just.
What does that mean, Matt?
Well, they want to get sales in before March 31st, but they're dropping obviously in the busiest time of the year.
But they're not going to release it until it's done, right?
What do you mean?
Well,
release what?
I mean, yes, it's done and it's in a good state, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But also,
surely
they're
the risk is
dropping
if they're going, we've got to release it before the end of the fiscal year or whatever. They want to make sure it's done. So I'm not 100% convinced.
Well, no, I'm saying it's done, but even if it's done, they thought, okay. I mean, they're dropping it in the busiest February/March of all time. But...
I mean, my worry was that we were only a few days away from Horizon 2, and like I don't know, man. I was freaking out about it because I've wanted to play this game for ages.
I know, I'm annoyed about this, honestly.
Yeah. Anyway, downloaded it, booted it up, deleted my old save, started again. Fucking right.
Yeah. You were what?
Let's get this out of the way. You know, there's still problems with it, and I've seen a lot of websites focusing on the issues with it. My view is this. If you remember just before Cyberpunk come out, James, I said this to you a lot. If it's on a level with a Fallout game, I'll be perfectly happy.
Yeah.
I can put up with bugs here and there, so long as it plays all right and it's interesting and grabs me. When the game come out, it was a total fucking mess, right? Unplayable for me. It would pause for ages. It looked like shit. You didn't get that feeling of a real city because of problems with pedestrians and traffic, and the frame rate was just jarring me so much, like more than any other game that I played. It was broken, right? So it wasn't up to that Fallout standards of, it's a bit buggy, but it's good enough to push you through. This feels like it's got to that Fallout standard now, where I've seen 1 or 2 bugs, nothing major. In fact, actually, it's probably more stable than when I first played Fallout 3 or 4. But I instantly loved the world, and the fact that it felt playable was incredible. And we've mentioned it on the show before, and I mentioned it to you, Sean, a lot. There's clearly a scene where you walk out of your apartment onto the streets for the first time, where it feels like it's kind of done with a bit of a tutorial now, and you're supposed to go, wow.
Well, because it's mimicking that Bethesda thing, isn't it? Like every Bethesda RPG has a bit where you're enclosed for quite a while and then you step out into the world. Yeah, it's that. Yeah.
It's that. And this time it nailed it. And I went, wow, this is what it was supposed to look like. This is how it was supposed to feel. It fucking nailed it. And I was like, and don't get me wrong, there was one bit where, who's your mate that sits next to you? Is it
Jackie,
Jack?
Jackie,
yeah. Jackie sitting next to you at that bar, and there was like a random sunlight just flicking off of his forehead like constantly, which was a bit annoying. So as I said, still slight bugs, but I was like, I had that moment, and from that moment I was like, I need to fucking hammer this.
That whole that walk down, first walk down from your apartment to outside of the mega block that you live in, that's still, like, for all the problems it had at launch. I mean, I was playing on PC, which mitigated some of it, but like that's still like a big memory for me because it brought.
So I didn't have that.
Okay, go on.
Because I was corpo, so it's different, isn't it?
Oh right, so what
you still have the apartment though, right? Eventually.
No. You start off in offices.
Yeah, but then after that,
you still my starts again. The bit I was like, whoa, was you're in like the corporate offices, and then you basically you're in like a flying car.
You still end up at the same apartment. Like no matter what you play. To be honest, the life path stuff doesn't make a huge amount of difference, but you always end up at the same apartment, and then and it's like. And then, just like I say, doing that because you walk out of your apartment and then you're in this, sort of Judge Dredd style, like this huge, like you're on the inside of this block, sort of looking at this sort of empty interior, and there's like you can see all these other like shops and other apartments and stuff like all dotted around, and like this fucking tannoy shouting stuff, and it just feels so alive. Like that bit is incredible.
Yeah, it does. It feels like a street, but in a building.
Yeah, absolutely. And sort of making your way down, as I say, you're sort of going through, and like people know you obviously because you live there, and people are talking to you and stuff. And it's like that bit is the most. And obviously, it's this is a sort of slightly backhanded compliment because it's the start of the game basically. But like that was the bit where I was like, oh my god, this is like I don't care if the game is not actually good after this. Like this completely sold me on like. Just that one section of it, I was just like, fuck, this is it. I can just walk around this city forever. This is going to be amazing. But
at 3 frames a second.
I don't think I actually have been to the apartment yet. I mean, Corpo, you start in the office, you fly through the city. That looks amazing. You go straight to the bar. After the bar, there's like a massive montage bit. Then there's a VR training mission. Then you're straight into a mission. So I haven't actually got to that apartment yet.
Yeah, no, that's later on. That's after that mission. You're literally
I will say
that
bit where I went into the ride down to the bar. That was like me looking out the window. It was exactly as V was in the vehicle. I was just like, look at all this outside. It looks amazing.
Yeah, so that's it though, Matt. Like, so it's the same for Street Kid. When you're in the car and you're looking out the window and stuff, you're going, oh, I can see it, but like I want to go into it. Like it's like you're watching it on a TV screen. You're sort of looking out the window and sort of seeing a restricted view of the city, and then suddenly there's a bit where you walk out your apartment and you're in that city.
Yeah, so that's what I haven't got to that bit yet. So I'm looking forward to that
it's
moment.
like when you go to New York or something, you land at JFK, you get into a cab, and then you're driving across the bridge and you're looking out and going, whoa, what the fuck? Then you go to a hotel, you put your bags in, then you walk out and you're like, whoa. Like the atmosphere, you feel the atmosphere of the place instantly. And it's like, it's exactly like that. And that's that moment when you walk out. Like it's
I'm excited for that. Because I thought it was, everyone's talking about a big moment like it was when I was in the vehicle. But if I'm still waiting in that moment, I'm like even more excited.
Yeah, when you're on foot is when it really... I mean, and obviously
when you're on foot, that's
you
when it
have
changes.
to sort of be careful, because if you explore too much, you realise that the world is a bit empty. But there's definitely like an amount of time where the illusion sort of maintains itself, and it is stunning.
Also the bit in the bar, you know, where you go to the strip bar at the start, and it just looks so different because I swear when I played it the first time, there was none of the smoke effects working with the lighting. Yeah. So it was just looked like this. It looked like a GTA 3 bar. You know what I mean? It looked terrible. But this time it looked like, smoke was going off and the light was hitting it perfectly, and it felt like it was actually a really busy place and had something to say. And don't get me wrong, not everything looks great. I still think the character models for the pedestrians and the people around you, they mostly look shit.
Yeah, like the difference between like story characters and random NPCs is massive. Like,
obviously don't look that bad, but it does have that feeling of do you remember State of Emergency?
I
refer to this game a lot because it was a big part of my childhood, but State of Emergency, they had a very strange style of NPC that were kind of like people sort of semi-leaning back. Like that's the way, like when they walk, it looks like their spine was either too straight or bent slightly back. And that's how a lot of these people walk in this game. Yeah. And you guys is a bit off-putting. Their skin looks like plasticine, that sort of stuff. So, it's not the best-looking game I've ever played, far from it. But there's something about that city that makes me go, oh, yeah, I'm in. The only problem that I have got...
was incredibly atmospheric.
Yeah.
I thought.
What?
I thought the club scene was really, really atmospheric.
What club scene?
Well, the we just literally spoke about a second ago.
I think. Well, you did a different live pass, so I think you'll have seen a different one, Matt. I'm not sure.
You might have been into a different. You've sat down with the lady.
With Jackie.
No.
Okay,
no, this is different. Yeah, this is different. There's a bit where you go to a strip bar and you meet someone in there, and then you sit and have a meeting in a little side room. It's later.
Yeah, in the club I've been in, you sit down with Jackie and then things kick off. But I even thought that was just really atmospheric. There was that genuine kind of eye contact between you and Jackie. Again, I didn't play it originally. This is the first time I've ever seen this game because after all the mess, I just thought, what's the point? I'll wait till next gen. So for me going in, I was like, it's actually really impressive. The atmosphere, you can almost like feel and smell the city. It felt. Yeah, I thought I was really impressed with the opening bit.
It's not
the only thing that I'm not getting, Sean, that I'd love to know if it comes in later. I don't really get V's motivation. Like, I know I'm really early on in the game, but there's part of me is like, why is he actually?
It kind of it starts out as like, I mean, so I picked the Street Kid beginning as well, and it's very much like he just wants to be a Night City legend and make a lot of money and not have to do crimes anymore. It's sort of standard GTA stuff, really. But then it changes significantly as time goes on. Or does it?
Yeah, I've got a feeling something's about to happen. Something big's about to happen. Yeah. So I got the robot and I'm in a suit. Does that make sense to you?
God, you're in a suit?
I'm in a suit.
So you're about to do the heist, yeah?
Yeah, so I'm assuming that's the big plot point change, right? It certainly feels like that. So, yeah. Okay, cool. I'm at the start. But then, okay, I'll get to that. Anything else anyone wants to say about Cyberpunk?
So as mentioned, I've finished it. But after this patch went up, I spent I was already sort of, I don't know, 2/3, 3/4 through the campaign. And yeah, over the course of like 2-3 days, I just smashed through the rest of it and had a really good time. Definitely still seeing stupid bugs. I saw grass growing through floors inside buildings. I saw...
That's like pure Fallout.
Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about. That is like, you'd see that in Fallout all the time, shit like that.
You know, people just floating in the air for no reason. But you know, like, but none of it stopped me enjoying myself. None of it was like annoying from a gameplay perspective. It was just the occasional thing you'd be like, oh, fuck's sake, still haven't sorted that, but whatever. I still don't really like... the story does interesting things with the genre, which when I first started playing it, it didn't seem like it was really making use of the setting, but it does. I think so obviously I definitely got the ending I would have chosen, like, you know, knowing what all of them are, but I don't really like any of the endings.
Right, okay.
Just, I don't know. See what you think when you get there, and you will, because you'll have a great time getting there. But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, no, all the tweaks and everything, like, as I say, there are lots of things that individually are not exciting, but they all add up to just a much smoother experience all around. And
I'll tell you what, it certainly showed me how the game press works at the moment.
Go on.
Because the articles I've seen about it have all been pretty fair and said about what we've been saying. But the fucking headlines have been...
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I know clickbait's one thing and the other, but like, especially Eurogamer, some of the headlines they've used, like when you read the articles, you go, it's not what they're saying at all. Why have they done that? Oh, because they want people to click on it.
I think that's been the playbook for a long time now, hasn't it?
Of course it has.
It's a shame when it's so obvious,
so
isn't it?
Obvious. Yeah. Like, was it? It's a hot mess. You click on it. You know, it's got some bugs, but it's all right.
I mean, and, you know, we should mention, so this is, what is it, like every platform, there's like a 5-hour trial now. And
yes.
The game's like 20-25 quid. I mean, yeah, absolutely, it's worth that if you haven't already got it.
Yeah, but maybe not if you're playing on a Xbox One or a PS4, right?
There's that.
You want at the very least, a Series
I mean, they didn't
S.
even mention,
and even then,
did they, the previous gen consoles at this point. I think it's...
No, you did not. And, you know, even if you've got a Series S, be aware that you will be playing this in 30, which I am finding increasingly more difficult to handle.
Yeah, I mean, I had a quick
go
on the Series S, and obviously being used to the PC version at 60, it was fucking hard to put up with. But then I know people playing the Series S version, and just obviously they don't know any different, so they're just dealing with it. I mean, obviously it is... Like, you know, there is shooting in it. There's melee combat and stuff, so it's not. But it's not like, you know, it's not Call of Duty. It's not a proper sort of sensitive, twitchy shooter. So I can see why people would be okay with it being 30. But yeah, personally for me, it was a struggle and a bit headache-inducing.
Cool. All right. Well, the reason why I was so frustrated is because Horizon 2 Forbidden West come out on Friday. Although I had a bit of a situation where I was expecting the game to turn up Friday morning. I ordered a physical copy, and it didn't, obviously, because of the. Look, I wasn't mad about it. I could have played I played Cyberpunk that night, and also I feel kind of bad for people going, "Where's my game?"
Oh, I know.
I'm looking out the window and thinking that a postman's going to be like on his bike.
Like
you know what I mean?
The Met Office have said that people might die, so can we just?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, probably best that they don't go out in it. I mean, if I was a postman, I'd be going, "Nope, no, thank you, not going to do that." The amount of times you'd be pulling letters out of your bag and they just blow off. It's like, oh, brilliant, nice one, great. So I was a bit bummed out. But the thing that bummed me out the most, that absolutely blew me away, before we get into this, fuck me, the way Sony handled this game in terms of selling it is a fucking mess, right?
Yeah.
I can't be the only one that was angry about
it. Yeah, this was bizarre.
So I bought a disc copy. I bought the PS5 disc copy. Matt, you bought the PS5 disc copy.
I did, yeah.
And James?
I bought the PS5 download copy.
Right. So we all got screwed out of 10 quid.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, basically.
Like, so if you don't know, and obviously we've spoken about it in the show when the news was announced, but that was a long time ago and I'd completely forgotten. The upgrade from the PS4 version of Horizon was free, right, to the PS5 version, which meant that if you bought the PS4 version, disc or digital, it worked on your PS5 as the PS5 version, right? So Sony then removed the PS4 version from the PlayStation 5 store. I think they've reinstated that now, right? After people were complaining.
No, so the PS4 version was never on the PS5 store, but they have now reinstated it.
They've reinstated it because literally, if they were both on the store, all you'd have to do is pick the PS4 version to get the PS5 version, but it was £10 cheaper. Same with the disc copy. The disc copy was £10 cheaper. If I'd have known it, I'd have just bought the PS4 one, because I looked up on CEX today, right, just to see how much they're offering, like cash, and it's the same, no matter what disc you got. So literally, even if you're thinking about selling it or trading it in, you've lost that £10. It's gone. You might as well have got the PS4 copy.
Brilliant. You know what's mad about all this, right? Have you seen the sales figures for this? Because
Yeah.
it's done very well, obviously. And
On PS5.
the PS5 one's done the best. And it's like, that means they've just made loads of cash, basically.
Yeah, so
Loads of
68% of users bought the PS5 version.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Well, what I do think is interesting about the sales is that it's actually, well, I mean, I think this is because it's physical versus digital, but it actually wasn't quite as big physically as Miles Morales.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I thought more PS5s in the wild, and another year on for Miles Morales. I thought this would be way bigger, but I guess maybe more people gone digital.
Yeah, because we don't
this.
know the numbers for digital yet.
Not until the end of this week. So I just thought it was weird. I thought physically this was still way outsell anything else.
But
honestly,
honestly,
I knew the upgrade thing worked for digital because I 2 weeks ago, so the only way to get the PS4 version was actually to go through the web store of the PlayStation Store. I knew you can get it on the console, so people were like, just go to the search the PlayStation Store on your desktop or laptop or phone, buy it there, and then you get the free upgrade. I knew that worked, but I didn't think, the disc version as well. I just didn't think so. I just naturally bought the £10 more expensive PS5 disc version.
like, how illegal is this?
I mean, I think there are cases against it. I mean, so also, this is the last free upgrade. Like, this was... Sony only promised free upgrades for the launch window games. This was supposed to be out much sooner. Because of the months, many months delay, they included this in the free upgrade. So this is the last one. So GT7 and whatever else comes out from here on out, no free upgrades.
It's so stupid, isn't it? Like, why don't they just...
It's not stupid, it's fucking shitty.
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
shitty.
if these games are like, out on both platforms, you just charge the same, innit? And then that's...
you certainly do in this case, right? So for GT, for Gran Turismo, they've said there's no free upgrade. They're different versions. You pay an extra for the PS5 version, right? Okay, I don't agree with it, but I understand it. Here, where they've said... it's whatever version you buy, you'll get it for whatever system, right? That fucking sucks that they still sold the disc copies at a £10 difference.
I mean, they're doing that because they're selling all first-party titles for 70 quid.
Yeah, I know, Matt, but this one's got a free upgrade to the thing. That's what I'm saying. So, someone pointed out on Twitter...
which is why everyone bought it. On PS5.
That's why they pointed out on Twitter that when you looked at the store... there was two versions of the same game next to each other, £10 difference, but no matter which one you bought, it was exactly the same version of the game. Like, that's bullshit. Like, that is fucking harsh, man. I do not like that.
Yeah, they're laughing all the way to the bank. I mean, yeah, it's ridiculous.
Piss take. Anyway, the game, I've barely played it because it turned up late, and I had a really busy weekend. It was Harry's birthday party and that, so... I literally can't judge it other than a couple of first impressions. How far into it are you, James?
See, I'm in a kind of a similar boat. I've definitely played it more than you have, but not very. I only spent probably about an hour and a half or so playing it so far. And I think, one of the main reasons for that is because I've been playing another game, which I regret playing. But I've spent a lot of time on that this week. And Instead, I don't know. I don't know why. I just didn't spend so much time with this. And although, I mean, I do. Also, this is the other thing, right? Is I was looking forward to this to a degree.
You sound like you weren't. You sound like you were angry about this. It was in your life.
I was looking forward to this to a degree because I did enjoy the first game. But I enjoyed the first game in a sense of like, I got it really cheap, or it may be even free, and I thought it was great. Like, because it was partly because it was free, but I never felt that it was like a top tier game for me. Like, it was never going to be something I was like really, really looking forward to, like to like playing. So I was kind of like, yeah, I'm looking forward to this. There hasn't been anything that's come out on PS5 for ages, so this will be good. And then Cyberpunk dropped this week, and then I was just like,
no,
actually, I'd rather play that. I'd really would rather play that at the moment because that's what I feel like I'm into at the moment. But then I still feel like obligation to play this now because I'd already bought it for 70 quid, and so it's like so I've already got to play it. And so I did play it a bit. I mean, it does look absolutely stunning, and
it does.
I did the whole thing of switching between like 60 frames and between performance and graphics mode, and it's the performance mode in it. You have to go with that because it was horrible.
Yeah, I mean, I pressed forward on the stick and went, nope, this is defaulted to the fucking 30 frames mode. I ain't playing it in this.
And it's like,
I heard a bunch of people saying actually it's much closer this time, and it's a lot better.
I don't understand.
I tried on graphical resolution mode, whatever it was from first. It looked stunning, and then I just turned the camera around and I was like, nope, I'm not doing this.
What's their argument? What's closer in what way?
All the reports say. I mean, I think Digital Foundry actually recommend going with the 30 frames one because they say whatever it does, it seems to do it. So it's not as night and day as other things that they've seen. And graphically, I think there's lots of big improvements. It definitely, obviously, clearly looks better in the resolution mode, but it just felt
when
slow.
Digital Foundry, did you watch the Digital Foundry thing?
I did not know.
Right, okay. Because I'm assuming the argument is the benefits you get from knocking it down to 30 make it a lot more of a closer choice, but not necessarily that the frames per second and how it looks is closer, because that's a binary thing, isn't it? That's a one or the other. You've either got 30 frames or 60 frames. There's no subjective view on that. I just think the subjective view is whether the benefits you get from knocking it down to 30 far outweigh the negatives of playing in 30. But for me, I can't go back to 30 now. I'm a full convert with this stuff.
It's true. If the option is there, then I'm going for the performance because it just feels so much nicer, to play.
It depends what game it is, right? So if it's like a puzzler or something like that, then maybe I could allow it. But yeah, no, I can't. Not for an action game like that. You need those frames. But it looks good. I think the thing that struck me initially was how. Yeah, I think it looks incredible. I love the design of the robots. Like, I love that stuff. They look creepy. They look cool. I like the way you hack into them, and all that stuff from the first game, where you're tracking them and you can see their routes and their paths and all this, and you're trying to lead them over to a bush where you're hiding and all that stuff, right? All of that stuff's great. But it had that unpolished feel that Ratchet and Clank sort of has, right? Where the movement feels a little bit more floaty. Like, it doesn't feel like a Last of Us when it comes to movement. It's a completely different game. So I'm not saying that it should feel like that game. It's just that game in terms of movement and feel and moving about felt so solid. Where here, like, I'm getting lots of moments where the character model hasn't realised that it's on the ground, so it's doing the falling animation. Or you'll go up to what looks like a gap in the trees, but there's an invisible wall. Or the most frustrating thing was me trying to jump up a ledge, and I just couldn't. And then there was a ledge that was higher, but it had a yellow bar on it, so it meant that I could jump onto that one. And I was kind of like, that kind of ruins the.
It kind of feels
feel
like
of the feel
it's
of it,
a
right?
set, doesn't it? Like, as in, you feel like you're like, it doesn't. This is the problem. Like, from what I've played so far, that's one of my issues with it. Is it's like it doesn't feel very interactive, if you know what I mean. Like the environment that you're in.
I've got a feeling, James, that is because we're in the opening, very restricted area.
I'm sure it's that.
Right?
But the grappling hook thing is ridiculous.
Yeah, that is mad. Have you heard this, Sean?
So
it gives you a grapple hook, and then it goes climb up this big tower, like to get to the next part of the game. And I'm like, oh, brilliant! can't use a grappling hook on this bit. Only on the bits where it says you can use grappling hook. I'm like, but I want to get up to that ledge. Surely I could just grapple up to it. No, the little symbol is not showing up for you.
Brilliant.
But it's also like selecting the grappling hook is ridiculous. Like, you have to like it's like a number of button presses before you get to
sometimes, it. There's two different ways of using it, isn't there? There's one where you aim down but imagine aiming down side, Sean, then pressing triangle and then aiming and shooting the grappling hook at the thing that you need to grapple, right? You've got that way, and then sometimes you'll just jump and a big symbol will show up, and if you press jump again, she'll just use it and then get up to that.
Yeah, that's the only way I've used that thing. I've only ever used it waiting for the symbol to pop up.
You can't have done, because there's bits where you have to use it to pull things down. There's bits where you have to pull the
rubble out of the way.
No, I've used it for that, but I've never used it for traversal.
No. Yeah, for traversal, it just does a double jump thing, right?
Yeah, it's only that way.
It's not for traversal.
Yeah. For the moment now, I was like, hang on, have I missed out where you can use a grappling anywhere? No, I've only ever used it to pull out bits of rubble, that kind of stuff, and or wait for the symbol to appear.
Yeah, it's frustrating because you kind of think, especially after playing Halo, where it was like the grappling hook was such a great way of getting about.
That's what I mean, and that's why I was a bit disappointed with this, because I was just thinking, brilliant, I can sort of just cut around the place. It'll be fantastic, but you really can't. It feels very much like the first game still, which is fine because the first game was a good game. It was
decent. Although I do think again, still very early on, but I do think that the intro to the first game was better. I kind of like that whole Aloy filing stuff, and then the trial and building up. Like at the moment, I've just been Aloy walking around with someone while she's like practically taking the piss out of the bloke because he doesn't know everything that she knows. Like she's walking about going, "Oh God, yeah, I'll explain that to you later."
She's been, I mean, from my experience so far, she's been pretty horrible to everybody.
Yeah,
most of the time.
I'm not judging the character on that so far because I'm so early on, but I'm sure that changes. But she's a bit of a dick at the start, isn't she?
And that's what's difficult with this, because I know that I will end up really enjoying this. I'm sure I will. Like, once I get into it and, you get into the world map and you get to start, like, exploring and stuff, I'm sure I'm going to like it. It's just that, I don't know, it just felt like it came at a weird time when maybe I'd prefer to play something else. And also, I find her hair incredibly distracting.
It's very,
during the... Well, I don't know what's going on with it.
I'm totally with you there.
Doesn't it feel like it's alive? Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
I feel like... So I've got a lot to say about like the characters, which I think are absolutely stunning. But the hair looks like it's underwater.
Yeah, because it's constantly moving.
Right,
It's like constantly moving.
It was like, do you remember that the Tomb Raider reboot on the PC mode had like hair physics, and people were just like laughing at it because it was just like
snake sort of
hair physics of its own.
So from what I've seen, I've seen a mate playing a bit of it. I haven't played it myself, but like when Aloy is like running around and doing action stuff, it's perfect, but it's when she's still, isn't it? Like the hair's still like fucking jiggling round,
or just
like,
talking to somebody, and it's all like all going all over the place, and you're just like, why? Yeah. Like that's not hair doesn't do that.
Wind, I think storm going on.
So the hair is the one bit of the characters that isn't quite perfect, but the rest I think is it's. I mean, I think the term mind blowing is overused, but the it's absolutely stunning, the quality of the characters.
Yeah, absolutely.
These like reflections in the eyeballs, like blemishes in the skin, like creases in the lips. I don't think I've ever seen characters look as good, as realistic as they do in this game. It's at every cutscene, not even at any point where the characters are talking to each other, I'm transfixed. It just looks so good. And I know Last of Us 2 looked good at a time, and Uncharted 4 looked good at a time. But yeah, it's another level. It's absolutely stunning. And no one else and nothing else can compete with this. It's unbelievable how good the characters look. Like there's so much emotion from like a wrinkle of the nose, or just like the way that their eyes look. Like the eyes look perfect. Like there's emotion just in the eyes, in where they look. How like that, a very very slight change in how they move their cheeks or their nose or their eyelids. I've been blown away by how good their characters look in this game.
I mean, I've not seen that. I've not had that reaction in game yet, but I've seen like plenty of screenshots that make me go, "Fuck me! I can't wait to see that shit."
Also, the stuff environmentally, it's amazing. Like, it looks absolutely stunning. I mean, I said when I first started playing it, I said to you in the group, it's just like, this is probably the best looking game I think I've ever played. Like in terms of on console, it looks incredible.
It's definitely up there.
Yeah,
it's definitely up there.
It's just beyond that. And this isn't like a Xbox versus PlayStation thing, but like you think about all the years we've had like Horizon 1, we've got this new one, all the experience that the various studios have had, like making Uncharted games and this and that, and like all of them are learned and developed, and now look where we are with Horizon Forbidden West looking this good. Like if you think about all the studios Microsoft's buying and like or developing, like surely they're so far behind with this. Like this is just utterly stunning in what they're doing. And I don't. It was never meant to be like an Xbox versus PlayStation thing, but I just thought it was interesting. When I was playing it, I was thinking, man, there's so much work to do on the Xbox side to like even compete with this. And that's just the characters.
For sure. Visually, I think whether we'll ever see anything look quite this good on the Xbox, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it's not the be all and end all for me. I don't think
it's not. But oh my god, it's a showcase for that.
Yeah, like, for sure.
There's so much detail in the environment, so many things. Like again, like the kind of traditional dress of the people you're meeting as you play the game. Like every outfit looks stunning. There's so much detail. Like half the time in the cutscene, I'm looking at all the things that the various characters are wearing. And then the various kind of just. The weather and like the dust particles that fly up. And
see, I've not seen any of that shit yet. I can't wait for that. Yeah.
Yeah, I just need to play more. I mean, I started playing a bit this evening, but before we started recording, but ran out of time pretty quickly. And
so, how far into it are you, Matt?
So I was just choking there. I've actually put fuck loads of time into this.
Hang on, you were choked up.
Like I was crying towards the end there.
Yeah, you choked up
because I was choking.
Anyway.
Yeah, I've put in about 16 hours into this game so far.
Oh shit! So you're in the Forbidden West then?
I'm in Forbidden West, yeah.
Okay, because that's the moment where it's supposed to change completely, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, for anyone listening, no, I won't say where I am, but yeah, basically, I just had a bit where I had like literally 20 minutes of exposition. Anyone playing the game will know exactly where I am. So yeah, there's a huge info dump, and now it feels like I'm probably into the game now. It's weird because as I said in the past, I played the first game after Breath of the Wild. I jumped off after an hour. I was like, this is not for me. I can't be doing with open world. It's nothing compared to Breath of the Wild. Forget it. I was interested in this because I just wanted like a big budget PlayStation 5 experience. I think I knew it was going to look gorgeous, and I wasn't terribly excited about the game. I'd even listened to like the 2-hour. Kind of funny like review where they do. Every time there's a big game, they do a big review, big cast, and normally those things, you leave them thinking, oh my god, I wish the game was out now. I wish I was playing it. And it was a really good podcast. I really enjoyed it, but I turned it off and I wasn't like, that's it, I am so desperate for this game. I was still like, okay, well, we'll see. And even now, 16 or 17 hours, whatever it is, I'm into it. I still feel kind of cold. Aloy, I have no emotional connection with her whatsoever. And maybe if I played the first one, maybe I would. But I still think me being 16 hours into this game, they should have done something to make me feel some kind of connection with her. I mean,
this is worrying me quite a lot. Because you played a lot of this game.
because you like the previous one, James, so you may have more to say on it, really, I think. But it's not like when I was playing Metroid Dread, like Samus is like an absolute badass, kind of fell in love with her straight away, just playing like the most recent Metroid Dread. I'm feeling nothing towards Aloy. I'm not, she's fine. That's it. Not good, not bad, just fine. We'll see what happens. Maybe that'll change in the story. Who knows? Story I mean, I know a lot of people complain about Halo's story, about its most like mumbo jumbo. There's an awful lot in this. Like I said, I've just come off a back of, I think, literally about 22 minutes of exposition. And maybe I didn't have to exhaust every single dialogue option, but this feels like an RPG where you kind of have to do that. So I did do that, but there are a lot of dialogue options for the various characters. And even after hearing all those dialogue options, I'm still not like, okay, Yeah, it's a story. I'm just not feeling it after 16 hours, and maybe this changes. I hope it changes story and character-wise.
How long is it?
About 30 hours.
I was going to say,
I think it's like 30
think
hours.
16 hours should be enough, really, to be convinced, wouldn't you?
What are you playing it on, Matt? What difficulty setting?
I'm playing on normal, but I might drop it down. I mean,
I dropped it down instantly.
There's
because
been... Sorry.
My thought process with starting this game is that the reason I played a lot of the first one, but I got to a point where I was like, I'm sick of hiding in bushes. I just want to go and batter everything now. And it never felt like I got there with the first one, and I kind of dropped off of it. Whereas this one, I thought, I think I'm going to start this on easy, so that I'm not...
There's story mode, isn't it? Then there's easy.
Yeah, I was half tempted
normal.
to go for that, to be honest with you, but I didn't. I went easy mode rather than...
so in my 16 hours, there's been, I think, 3 or 4 fights where, like, there's either loads of monsters and I've been, like, wrecked, or... I mean, even 16 hours in, I think my health is, like, 300. You can get, like, smacked in, like, two hits, really, and you're dead, which it can be annoying. But I haven't changed my difficulty yet. There's a point where I'm like, maybe I do. But when I made sure I utilised all my skills and utilised kind of the various kind of bows and arrows and other things I've got and got through those sections, I know that was satisfying. That was really, really cool to take on all them, and I did it. I climbed my first, like, is it long neck, tall neck, long neck?
Yeah,
long neck.
Great,
and again, I played a very, very small handful of hours in the first one, never saw one, and I was like, oh, this is really cool. It's like a mini puzzle to actually get up it, let alone, do that. It's really cool because it shows you items on the map. I was like, okay, this is really, really nice. I've done a bunch of things where you see like a new monster and you can target the various kind of panels or modules I have on them, and rather than just going in for the kill where you lose all that, if you target or tag some of the things they've got on them, some of the panels, and you can like basically shoot them off them, and then you can retrieve them later. And then things are really, really important for upgrading your various bows and other things, or maybe you might need them for a mission. So I think that's really cool, whereby I could go in all guns blazing and kill them, but then it makes sense to go in a bit slower and actually properly target the various body parts that they've got before going for the kill. So I think that's really cool. There were a bunch of different skill trees. I focused on like melee and hunter is maybe another one. There's like a one that's a bit more kind of stealthy. And also, I typically go for stealth in these kinds of games, but I've actually really liked the melee combat, going in just like wailing on them and then coming back and then firing some arrows and go back in again. And you have this move a little bit later on. Oh, you might actually have it from the beginning, I don't know. But basically, you press a couple of buttons and suddenly, Aloy puts some face makeup on and then you do some hardcore moves, and in my case, some hardcore melee moves, and it's really satisfying nailing them.
It's like Berserker mode.
Yeah, it's not called that, but it's basically that you have some meters, and if you do some attacks, you basically fill these, and then you can do like a special move, basically. And that's also really satisfying, and I've mostly focused on melee rather than the kind of stealth or stuff from ranged attacks. But I know all this stuff is good, but I'm not really feeling anything. It feels quite cold at the moment. But I will keep going. I think actually, honestly, the graphics and how it looks and stuff is keeping me going. I'm just constantly amazed of how good it looks. And every single character I meet, I'm like, this looks amazing. Gameplay is fine. Story, not feeling anything. Characters, not feeling anything.
That's so worrying because that's what I'm in it for. Story, characters.
Well, I'm sure everyone will take different things from this game. This is just my thoughts on it. I absolutely love the environment. I think it's fun to traverse. There's also, I think you should really turn on the settings where you can turn on it's an accessibility where it shows you instantly where you can climb on rocks and where you can't climb, rather than having to keep clicking R3.
Because I'm like, is it that you have to do that?
Yeah, no, that's something.
Can I climb everything? Or because some rocks, I'm like, I can climb the whole rock face. There's no stamina bar. And other things, I'm like, why can't I do a single thing? But if you click R3 and use your focus mode, it then shows you which are like yellow areas and red areas and stuff. Yeah. But I just have that now, so it shows it all the time. So I'm not wasting time trying to work out where I can or cannot climb.
Doesn't that ruin the way it looks though? Doesn't that pull you out of the
No, because
think-
I'm focusing a lot anyway. There's loads of like kind of weird
Yeah, that's
kind of
true.
artifacts in that regard. So it doesn't really ruin it at all for me. Yeah, I'm really enjoying traversing the environment though, like seeing the various kind of different weathers and like there've been like snowy areas and desert areas and yeah, it's a huge map and I'm really enjoying that. I've done a couple of side missions. I've mostly been doing the main missions. Yeah, I'm going to keep going because I feel like I'm maybe halfway-ish and I want to see this to the end. But right now, emotionally, I'm feeling nothing from the game. But that's just me, maybe.
That is I'm really worried now.
No, James, because you enjoyed the previous one and you finished games. So I've no doubt you'll be different.
Mm.
I'm like you, James, man. I'm so thinking, why am I not playing Cyberpunk?
Yeah.
But no, it's so unfair. It's so unfair on this game, and I moaned at people for doing it with Breath of the Wild for the last one, because if you remember, you were all playing Breath of the Wild and I was playing the first game,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, yeah, but they're different. You can't think like that. But I it would appear that I've changed my mind.
But I mean, people listening to this might think I'm like being super negative. I'm just being 100% honest. I mean,
I'm just being honest. I'm
Straight
just
shooting.
telling it like
there's enough
it
in
is.
this game to make me keep playing it. But I'm just thinking emotionally, I've got like, there's no attachment to it. And I'm surprised with myself because I thought, okay, the first one, whatever, but there's a new one, all shiny, it's on PS5. I'll probably just fall in love with it and think, oh, why don't I play the first one, etc., etc. Like I've done with loads of other games in the past where I've not bothered with the earlier franchise, play a new one, love that, think about going back, and never do. But thus far, it's not the case. But it's doing it. There's enough there clearly because I still want to play it. So I'm not. I don't think it's rubbish by any stretch of imagination. I'm just emotionally there's no connection. But that's it. I'm still playing.
I'll tell you something that it did remind me of. Using that fucking controller's nice, man. Like all the haptic stuff.
I love it.
I love that shit. I mean, don't get me wrong. I still don't like the look of it, and in fact, actually, the feel of it isn't the best. But
I love how it feels. I still think I just love how solid it feels. I mean, I also like the look, but I think it's just a fantastic controller in every way, really.
The haptic stuff is brilliant, though. It is
the
very
haptic
good.
stuff's where it's at for me. I mean, that is so good. But yeah, no, I can't. I don't like the shape of it. I don't really like where the analog sticks are. But
That's the. Sorry, I was going to
go
say
on.
that's the other reason that I want to play Cyberpunk because apparently all the haptic stuff's really good
Oh, that's
in
right.
that.
Yeah,
as
they
well.
added that.
Oh,
as
is
part
it?
of the
Yeah.
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 While we talk about controllers, I mentioned to you guys, but I'm really excited because I thought it's time. Like I use my Xbox way more than I do my PlayStation, right? And I thought it's time for a new Xbox pad. And a friend of mine recently got one of those. Was it the Xbox Game Lab controllers? You got one, haven't you, Sean? What did you do for yours? Because I kind of nicked your idea. Didn't you get Nushin to design?
Yeah. I let New design it. Yeah.
Did you see it before you bought it?
No.
Right. Okay. So that's what I've done, but with Harry, because it was only like £5 more than I was like. I want to get a nice looking pad as a new one if I'm getting a new one, and I like the way the Xbox ones look. So I was flicking through them, and I was like, most of these are garish. So if I'm going to do that, why don't I just give Harry the honour of designing me a pad? So I sort of sat him down and said, do we want, then go to buy, and then I put my details in and then just hit send. And then, and I deleted the email because I was worried there was going to be a fucking massive picture of it on there. So I've got that coming. I can't imagine what that's going to look like.
I can't
That's
wait
going
to
to be
find
really
out.
nice though, because even if it's awful, it'll just be like, yeah, but Harry did it.
Yeah, exactly. That's
You'll be like, it's
awful.
awful.
I'll be like, Harry made
This is almost too nice to use. I think I better put it in this drawer. You know,
That's how you would react, James. I'll be proud of it. I can't because when you're a kid and you're looking at that many options, you're just going to choose different things for every option, aren't you? You're not going to think about what's going to make a good
Like
looking
an actual
pad.
colour scheme. Or,
Yeah, exactly. You're just it's going to be a fucking mess of a controller. I can't wait. I'm fucking pumped for that. And also, after he did it, he was like, so is that my controller? I was like, nope, that's mine, right? If you want, you got your birthday this week, you always get tons of money for your birthday. You can design your own one exactly the way you want it to look. Because he did say, oh, I've put in your favourite colours or whatever. So, he has aimed it at me. So, and he was like, he's excited about the idea of making his own one soon. So yeah, I'm enjoying. I'll have to post a picture when it arrives because I can't fucking wait to see what that looks like.
How long is it going to be? Do you know?
No, well, it says like 4 to 6 weeks when you go to buy it or something.
Ooh, okay.
I can't remember. It's something. It was a crazy lead time or whatever. But my mate that just done it, he did it when he was drunk, and it was a pretty shocking looking controller, I must admit. I'll send you a photo of it. But he said it only took about 4 days to arrive, so it might get here this week. But yeah, no, sorry, a little bit of a detour. The haptic shit on the PS5 pad is just brilliant. Like, it really is good.
It does it in Horizon. There's moments we have to like pry doors open or pry
does
car
it do the rain
bonnets
thing
open.
when it rains, Matt?
I haven't noticed that specifically.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, there is definite tension when you're kind of prying doors open and stuff. Yeah, no, it's good in that regard.
We'll have more to say about this game in the coming weeks. It's a big old game. Yeah. I feel bad for even passing comment on anything really, because I've played I swear I've played about an hour and a half. I've done 2 sessions on it, about at least 45 minutes long.
Yeah,
and I'm still in the walking around with the man in the linear part of the game, because I hear it's linear, hub world, open world, right? That's kind of the structure of the opening. Is that correct?
Yeah, pretty much that. Yeah.
So I'm not even in the hub world yet. Yeah, I'm not in the hub world yet. So that's when I start to get a feel for it, and then I can't wait for the game to start proper. I can't wait to because on the previous game you can hack certain robots and then ride them about. That's the bit I'm looking forward to. Doing that, finding a little robot, hacking it, and riding it about. That's what I'm in it for. So there'll be more Horizon Forbidden West chat on future shoes.
Yeah, I'm interested to know if my opinion changes, and also seeing what you guys speak about, because obviously people love this series. It might
be me. You get it done for next week?
Dead inside. Will I get it done by for next week? Well, Elden Ring's out on Friday. So kind of want to, but we'll see.
Going back to it. Sounds like a Matt Murray thing, isn't it? Never going back to it.
Sounds like. Well, anyway, I'm going to blast through this baby before Elden Ring on Friday, but we'll see. Not next week. Did I say next week? This week. This Friday, Elden Ring's out.
Yeah, that's what you said. This Friday. Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see where I am by Friday.
James, I'm excited to hear how you got on with Olli World after our little chat last week.
Well, that's the thing. I went back to it and I ended up absolutely loving it.
It's fucking great, isn't it?
Yeah, and this is the thing, because I sent you a message and I was like, yeah, I've just finished it. Like, I just smashed through to the end. I mean, I got bad scores, obviously. Like, my scores weren't great or anything like that, but I really just enjoyed the feeling of the movement. I mean, I think what it was I was really off it in the beginning because of the fact that I didn't realise that restart thing. And as soon as I did that, it's like, okay, this is fun. Like, not having to repeat entire levels makes it a lot easier. But then also your technique gets a lot better, obviously, as you're going.
God, it really is designed to be played through just to get to the end of the levels. Like a Mario game, right? It really is designed to just don't worry about all the extra stuff. Just focus in on get to the end of the level. Because it's still teaching you stuff in the last world. There's still tutorial levels in the last world. And some of it is like, oh my God, this will make my scores go insanely high. I didn't know I could do this.
And also, you don't realise either how much you're learning as you're playing it, and how much better you're getting as you're playing it. Because then the stuff that I was doing from the first area, I just couldn't do. In the beginning, I was just like, this is impossible. And then
in the beginning.
There you go. And then I went back to it, and it's like, this is easy. This is easy now, which was really good. I mean, as I said, I'm never going to be good at this. I don't think, as in, I'm never going to be amazing at it or anything. But it's really fucking fun. It is.
It's fucking fun, isn't it?
Yeah. No,
Sean, have you played much more of it?
I haven't, to be honest.
Shit, man.
Cyberpunk sort of stole my week.
Yeah. I have a problem with it where it's like Lumines. So I've been playing a lot of Lumines recently, a lot of Lumines, which is the most bizarre fucking game of all time. I don't know why I play it. I enjoy it, obviously. There's some sort of reaction I have to it. But even the idea that this was built for a handheld console, yet games last over half an hour. And you're just like, why is this still going on? Why am I still doing this? Oh no, it's finally finished. I'm going to do it again Like I played for an hour and a half straight the other day because I bought it. I bought it for well, no. Here's how it went down. Right. So I played it a while ago on. We'll get back to Olli World in a minute, but I played it on Xbox because it was on Game Pass, right? And it's the first time I played Lumines, and it took me a few games to go, oh right, I get it now. Right, I know what I'm supposed to be doing. This is pretty fun. Then I remembered that it come out on a PSP, so it's probably on my Anbinic RG552, and it was. So I was like, I'm going to play this, but of course it's emulation. So there's the odd skips. It's got a weird bug in it where I press start and then unpause it and the music doesn't carry on. So that's a bit weird. So then I thought, is it on Switch? So I looked on Switch and the remaster version is on there and it was like £4 and it was like on sale. So well, I'm getting this on Switch then because this is perfect. And honestly, I will sit there, put my headphones in and play. I played it for an hour and a half. My hands were killing me. They were absolutely killing me by the end of that gaming session. But my word, did I have a good time. It's so good. Anyway, Olli World is a lot like that. So I'll go, I'll do one level in Olli World. I'll just stick that on. And that level will take me 45 minutes to sort of get a really good score that I'm happy with. And then I'm like, well, I might as well do another level now. And then all of a sudden it's like 2.5 hours solid of Olli World. It's, it's some game that. Really, really good.
Yeah, absolutely excellent. Loved it.
I'm glad you enjoyed
really
it, James, because when you were talking about it last week and you were saying, I'm really struggling, I don't really want to play it. I thought, James, this is so you, this game. It really is. It really is. I'm glad that you found the way through that initial problem that you had with it.
Yeah, I think it was when you said this is like a Mario game in a sense of just like, just get through each like sort of area and all that kind of thing. I was like, yeah, I can see that. And it's definitely. Have you
done the race against the dude in the bear yet?
No, I've not done that, no.
Yeah, that is fucking difficult. That it's really hard. It's really hard. Okay. So that's Olli World. Anything else, James?
Yeah, I mean, I've finished Pokémon Legends.
Here we go. I'm excited to hear about this.
So, I feel so terrible about this game. Like, I really do.
Why?
No, okay, let me explain why, right? I mean, first of all, let me just preface all of this by saying this is not a bad game. I don't think it's a terrible game or anything like that. But the way I played it made me feel not very happy. And so I finished the base game, I think between 25 to 30 hours. And then I went down the whole rabbit hole of completing the Pokédex to like try and get the true ending. And what it was, I mean, the game.
Oh, so there is a different ending, is there? If you
yes, there is. Yes, and so there's more stuff like to get the true ending, like in inverted commas, like you get that like towards the end. And so the game's got 240 Pokemon, and I was kind of like, well, most of these I already had about 140.
It's 241, isn't it, James? Before anyone sends messages, it's 241.
No, it's 242 actually.
Well, you said 240, but it's 241 unless you do something else.
No, it's actually 242 unless you do something else, Matt.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm helping you. You said 240. Someone was going to message us.
It's 242 if you've also got a save for Pokemon Diamond or one for Sword or whatever. Then you can get like an extra 2 other Pokemon. But I'm not into that. So
I'm not about that life.
Yeah, I'm not about that life. Yeah,
I don't trust that.
Okay.
But yeah, so I had about 140 already when I finished. So I thought, okay, well, these have been pretty easy to get. So this shouldn't take too long, like to finish it. So 25 to 30 hours I've already spent. I finished the game on Sunday night, and I looked at the clock, and it was at 60 hours. And which is horrific.
How have you done that?
It's horrific.
Where did all those hours come from?
I don't know. I was literally like, seriously. I played it over the weekend. I was playing it in the evenings, like until quite late in the morning sometimes.
Yeah,
as well.
Yeah. How late, James?
What are we talking here?
How late?
Like 3,
like 2 a.m.
Like till 3. Yeah.
3 o'clock in the morning, James, and you fucking moan when it's 10 o'clock your time.
I know. And I felt terrible. And this is the thing, because like in the morning, like Chen would look at me and she was like, "You look awful." Like that, because like all my eyes were like,
drinking.
Like, all like the massive black bags under my eyes and all that kind of thing, which was terrible. And the tipping point was when I got to around 180 Pokemon, because at that point I was like, I'm not really enjoying this now, but there's not that many more to go. Like, I was just thinking, I can't stop now. It's that whole, like, you know, the sunk cost fallacy thing of just and it's like, I'm going to finish it. And so what was really annoying is that some of the Pokemon are quite complicated to get and really irritating. Like, it's not just go and catch all of it. There's all these, like, different requirements and stuff. And then one of the most annoying things is that some of them, the quickest way to get them or whatever is to, like, evolve them, like, from ones that you've already caught. So you think, great, that's easy. Just level them up, they'll evolve. No. You don't do that with some of these. Some of these require like special items. The only way to get the special items is by either doing side quests or by getting merit points. The side quests are really irritating and sometimes don't work out. Like they're just convoluted. So the quickest way, I kind of thought at the time, was by getting merit points. Now, to get merit points, you have to collect satchels from around the world, which is people that have died, and then you go around and you pick them up, right?
Yeah. What do you mean, people that have died? Like people, like NPCs that have died, or
real people that have died, right? Now,
hold on, their characters could just die.
Yeah, you can like fall off a cliff or whatever, or and then you just leave your bag
or whatever.
Have we not mentioned that? Yeah, that's one of the things that's quite cool about this game is that like you the player like get attacked by wild Pokemon and stuff. It's not just
no, I don't think I remember you talking about this.
So then, so the thing is, right?
That's not. I thought this was like kids are just like I'm dead now.
Yeah, because I mentioned now like a Death Stranding type element where other people that have fainted or died in the world, you can go and collect their stuff and then deliver them. Yeah. Well, pick them up and then that's the delivery.
So you do that, and then you get merit points for that, which you can then exchange for items in the shop, which could then like do the evolving thing, right? But the trouble is that these satchels that appear on the map, I couldn't figure out like how do these things spawn? Right? Because they spawn like maybe about 4 of them in each of the areas that you go to. So that's a pretty good amount that you can get. It's usually going to be enough so that you can get one item or whatever out the shop. But if you're like trying to get loads of these items, that means you're waiting all the time for these to spawn so that you can then get more. And sometimes they seem to spawn pretty frequently.
Other you times, can't just move to a new area.
No. Because it like loads a new load of them at various, but I couldn't figure out how to make it happen, or if it was just random, or if it was like certain times of the day.
So like just by simply going into a new area, that didn't load new ones in.
No, it doesn't. Not all the time. So that was where I was starting to get really irritated because I was just thinking, I'm sitting here for ages waiting for them to refresh, and they're not refreshing. Just so I can finish this.
4 a.m. Come on!
It's like closing the game and open it up. Did you try turning it off and on again, Joe?
I did. I tried that. I tried disconnecting from the internet. I tried reconnecting just to try and get these things so I could get these points back.
Did you try like taking your Switch apart, soldering some stuff?
Did you try buying 3 new Switches, James?
do you know what you should have tried? Going to bed. Trying again the next morning.
But it was terrible because then it was, you see, I felt like a zombie, like by the time I got to like about 210 or whatever, and I just wanted it done, and I just kept on going, and it was horrible. And I got to the final boss, like the final sort of thing, and it's really brutally difficult. Like, it was really hard. I was sitting there getting really irritated. Chen was looking at me like, you are absolutely pathetic.
What have I married?
Basically, yeah. She was like, this is a child's game, and look at you.
Look at our bathroom.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you could have fitted like a number of bathrooms in the amount of time you spent on this. It's like ridiculous.
60 hours. You spend half an hour sorting your light out in your bathroom.
Yeah. How many bulbs is that? How many bulbs could you fit in 60 hours?
But this is what's mad. I haven't spent this much time on any game for like, I don't know how long. Like for ages.
Animal Crossing.
Say again?
Animal Crossing.
Yeah, but exactly. But that's over months. Like, I've spent that time.
Animal Crossing's not a game; it's a lifestyle. That doesn't count. That's it.
But I don't know. And as I said, I finished it. It's done. I'm never touching this game ever again.
Yeah. What was what happened? So you finished it.
Yeah.
You saw a new ending.
Yep.
Was the ending worth it?
Yeah. I mean,
okay. Okay. So what do you do then? What did you do? What time was this? What was this late in the evening?
This was Sunday evening. So it wasn't late because Asher was still up, and then he brought in a piece of paper where he'd drawn a load of Pokemon on it.
Which that piece of paper saying, please return to the family, Daddy. We miss you.
I am your son, Asher.
Asher came in. I was crying at the edge of the bed. Waking up. No, I play Pokemon too much.
I saw this on Twitter. This was really sweet.
Yeah, he'd like drawn like a whole thing, like a congratulations thing of like you've done it.
Bless him.
Which was really nice. It was really
real
nice.
Ending.
It was this was really nice. And now he's playing it. Although I don't know what he must think of it because
now he's playing. Well, you haven't let it. You've not let it.
No, of course he hasn't.
It's been glued into my Switch for like the whole time I've been playing this. He's not touching it.
Believe that, James.
The Pokemon fan, the child in the house, hasn't been able to play it because his dad's been smashing 60 hours into
you're
it.
making this sound worse than it is, right?
Last week, no, I'm not. Last week, you mentioned that you bought it as a surprise and left it around the house for him to find.
Yeah.
He found it. You took it off him for 60 hours, and now he's finally allowed to play it.
No, this is not true. This is also because... No, it's not. It's a little bit true, but it's not completely true.
A little bit true.
It's half true.
That's our episode title, right? A little bit true, please.
Done.
Please let that be the episode title, Matt. Write that down. A little bit true. Thank you.
He wanted to finish playing Pokemon Diamond first before he played this, and he did.
Did he,
and
James?
So that's the thing. He did. He did.
So what happened when you said you told him you finished
Sean,
it?
Wait, just one second.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, you told him that you weren't going to buy him the new Pokemon game until he completed the current Pokemon game.
That is what you said.
That was just banter for the show. That wasn't really going to happen.
That sounds like reality now, James.
I'm
It
going to
sounds
ring
like you
Chen.
said,
I can't help it.
Oh my God, you've got the new Pokemon game. Yes, I have. You can't play it until you've completed Sapphire or whatever
absolutely
it's called.
not what I said. That isn't what happened.
Okay,
he chose that of his own accord.
So when you got the first ending, did you say, I finished Arceus, and he was like, oh, cool, does that mean I can play it?
No, he didn't. He immediately said, are you going to try and catch them all? And then I said to him, I'm going to catch as many as I can. And
that's real.
And he's like, Dad, that's not the catchphrase.
Oh my God, this is wonderful. So James, right? Okay, so getting back to my original question, you finish it, you turn it off. Like, how do you feel? What do you do?
I felt angry and a bit empty inside, honestly.
Did you say anything to anyone? Did you tell Chen?
Well, this is the thing. I did tell
Chen left by this point.
I also said,
had you already packed her bag?
I looked up from my Switch and I was in an empty apartment in Germany.
With no light bulbs.
See,
Taking all the curtains down.
I actually sent a message to Matt, right, where I just said to him, what did I say, Matt? I can't remember. Hang on. I'll find it. Oh yeah, that was it. Yeah, I just because I just said I've wasted my life, and he said, "Oh my God, that's horrendous," and then he said, "Congratulations, you fucking nerd," and then I said, "That's pretty much what Chen said to me." Like,
James, man, I want to give you a hug.
So
but at the same time,
as someone who's like halfway through the campaign and enjoying it a lot, I take it you would not recommend completing the Pokédex then?
Well, for me, it was not an enjoyable experience. But then
Okay.
I understand that for other people, they probably love that. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing to do or
Like
it's a
your
bad
son.
game or anything. It's just for me, it was a grueling experience that I did not enjoy very much.
shame.
Yeah.
Shame you were
James,
enjoying it last time you spoke about it. It's a shame to hear that.
James, at the end of the game, what score would you have given it? At the end of like standard
Good question.
playing a few weeks ago.
At the end of standard part, I'd have given like an 8 or a 9 out of 10.
And what would you give it now?
I don't know. I'd still probably give it the same because it's my own fault that I ruined it for myself.
Get right, listeners. You have just heard James talk about a game that he would rate an 8 or a 9 out of 10. Just consider that when you're hearing him talk about games in the future, yeah? Fucking hell.
And then, the only other thing I played this week was I finished Dark Souls 2 on the stream, which was
Did?
good.
Surprisingly as well, right? Because I
Yeah.
watched it and you just went, that's not the end. And then the credits rolled and you went, oh, it is the end.
I was really surprised because it was only a 30-minute stream because I was expecting it was going to be really difficult or whatever, and then it wasn't. Like the final boss was not difficult at all, and
It's not too bad, is it?
No,
Good
it was.
Well, were you overpowered, or you just got better over them?
I think I was partly overpowered because my mace was like monstrous by the end of the game, which was great.
God, you come out with episode titles
Yeah,
non-stop.
nothing now.
You're a generator.
Mace was monstrous.
Do you know? Oh shit! I didn't tell you this, right? I didn't tell you this. I was chatting to Ian about autobiography titles, right? I can't remember what his one was. He might not want me to say, but he said, "What would your autobiography title be?" And I went, "I've never had an answer for that question." I said, "I can't remember whose idea it was, but I think it might have been Ian." Said, "Ask James." Right. So I said, "Well, I'm going to do it now." So I sent James a text saying, right, I've just written an autobiography. It's just about to be published. I haven't got a title for it. Name it for me." Do you know what he come out with?
Go on.
Turner Through the Tunnel. What the fuck does that even...
I mean, are there many stories
It makes sense.
regaling times and tunnels?
Absolutely none whatsoever.
No, it
Where
does
did
make
that come
sense.
from?
There's a logic there.
Go
Is
on.
there? Well, no, because it's like you on the journey of life through the tunnel. It's like through a tunnel where you don't really know where you're going, but there's light at the end of it.
Hold on.
What you're saying is he's an incredibly focused individual.
Yeah.
He's always looking at the... Yeah, he's
You
always
always
looking
know where you're
forwards.
going through a tunnel. Just
Zero
out the other side of
peripheral
the
vision.
tunnel. It's not like suddenly you're going to go do a different bit of the tunnel.
I was trying to do an alliteration and it didn't. Forget it.
It's academic stuff, Dave. We wouldn't...
But the problem is, if I
We
ever
wouldn't
do
know.
get to a point in my life where I'm writing an autobiography, it's going to have to be the title now because
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to think of anything else other than Turner Through the Tunnel.
Dave, it just means you'll have to actually plan for two. So you can have one with that title and one with a good title.
Yeah. I'll work it out. Sorry, where were we? Dark Souls. Yeah. So you enjoyed that, did you? Overall,
It was fantastic. Yeah, it was very
Good.
good. I mean, can I
Good.
say thanks to people in the chat? Can I do that?
nope. Don't
Okay.
like any of them. Go on. No. Of course you can. Go on.
No, like there was a lot of people that stuck with it through like the entire run, pretty much, and they were incredibly helpful. Like there was the Wizarlands, like Shy, obviously, Not So Angry Sun was great, and Chod, and I've got a whole list here. Like there's like Simon Sloth, Bitter Toad.
Do you know what? It's funny because I like... Because I was thinking, I should say the same about people who've been showing up to the Nuzlocke streams, actually. But then you've just listed a load of names that I haven't seen on my stream, so they can go fuck themselves.
But I mean, I've also got to thank Colin Ross Wilson, obviously, for all his sage advice, like throughout the game. You know, I wouldn't have been able to have done it without him. So
He knows
Sarcastic,
everything,
was
doesn't he,
it?
about his games.
Sarcastic.
Yeah.
So, with Dark Souls 2, isn't that widely regarded as the worst?
yeah, but it's still a really good game, though. This is the thing.
Yeah,
It's
Yeah,
like
it's,
also
it's
they
the
did-
worst of one of the best series of...
basically, yeah.
Yeah.
it's
They
that
did a
sort of
lot of work on it as well, didn't they?
They did.
Yeah, it's very different from. My understanding is it's a lot more refined from when it first launched.
thing. Mhm.
Yeah.
But like, absolutely
yeah, no-
superb. Like if I'd have played it on a year, like when it came out, it would have been on my Game of the Year list, like no doubt. You know, it was so good.
I'm interested to see what you think of 3 because that was the one where Bloodborne was the one where it started looking good, right? But
Yeah.
Dark Souls 3 looks great at times, doesn't it?
Yeah, really does.
That fucking city, man, where you stand over it, you know, the first time you get there.
The bridge. Like over the bridge.
That's it, the bridge,
Yeah.
And then you look over and it's like, oh my god, this looks incredible. I wonder if that still holds up. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but that's it. That's all I've been playing.
Sean, you got one more game on your list?
Yeah, just a quick one. So I'm still playing Metroid Zero Mission, the GBA remake of the very first Metroid game, and I'm I'm probably not going to finish it now. So I'm at the final bit, which was added especially for Zero Mission. It's not part of the original. So when you do the final boss, you then there's like a little cutscene, and long story short, you end up doing this additional final section where you're playing as Zero Suit Samus. So you got no power armor, you got no abilities, and you've just got this shitty pistol that just stuns enemies. It's not good. It's really frustrating, and I don't like it. But it's just interesting because you can see the genesis of Metroid Dread in it. Because I was sort of vaguely aware that Metroid Dread had been supposedly on the cards for like 10 years or whatever.
God, I watched a video on this. I think it was that game. There's a game series that I really like on YouTube, and they covered this and the history of it. And Fusion was announced fucking years ago, wasn't it? And it's been one of those legendary games that sort of gets referred to every few years, and then it goes quiet again.
Yeah. And it's just interesting because, me sort of seeing the, all the promotion stuff for Dread and being like, oh, it's like sort of not really a horror game, but there's, the whole thing with the Emmy sections and like, having to stealth a bit and getting chased, not really being able to fight back for most of it. I sort of likened that to the SAX sections in Fusion. But no, this final bit in Zero Mission, which came after Fusion, is way closer to the Emmy sections because you're in this base and it's full of these space pirates, and basically, you've got no abilities that can actually kill them. You can, if you have like a fully charged pistol shot, it like stuns them for a second and gives you a second to get away. But it's all about stealthing your way around and sort of watching their patterns, trying not to get spotted, and then if they do, like it goes like similar to Dread, like it goes into like security mode, like all the doors like locked down and stuff, and you've got to like find somewhere safe to evade the space pirates for a bit, and then you can crack on. So it's just really interesting to see how obviously that fed into the concept for Dread, even though it was like like I say, another sort of 10, 15 years or whatever until Dread would actually come out. Yeah. You can see the seeds of it. It's just a shame that it's really frustrating and not good. But then again, that sort of makes sense as to why they obviously sort of went right. There's something here that we want to do. We want to focus on for the next game. But because Dave, you'll know better than me. I never really followed it. But wasn't it like they knew what they wanted to do with it, but they just couldn't do the concept justice for a long time, and then and
I think the focus shifted away from 2D Metroid games as well. That was when what is it, Prime come out, and that was seen as the way forward, and Nintendo weren't really interested in producing much in the way of 2D Metroid, but especially for their main, if you want to call it that, their main sort of home consoles. It's been a fascinating thing to play in 2022. Post Metroid Dread, I really enjoyed 98% of it. I just hit this final bit. I'm just like, this is not enjoyable at all. I will probably leave it there. But glad I played it anyway. Did you know Gaming? That's the gaming YouTube channel. Yeah. I'm sure that I love that stuff. It's so good, so matter of fact, and it's that and the Boundary Break stuff that I'm obsessed with on YouTube. They're the two ones that the moment a new video comes up, I'm watching that. Always good content. Thought I'd give them a shout out. Right, that's what we've been playing. We've got time for a few questions. Let's get them done.
Send us a question. Go to tcgs.co/dear TCGS. Miriam Mendieta says, Dear TCGS cover band, watching Sean fix James's old Switch and hearing you discuss obsolete balance boards last week awoke my curiosity. What is the most irreparable damage you've brought upon a console or its peripherals? I look forward to tales of trance vibrators suddenly breaking from aggressively playing Res. Thank you for brightening up the week.
My one's easy. I once took an N64 pad, pulled it all apart, painted it, put it all back together. Not only did it look horrific, it was yellow and red with like zigzags. Half like the top right hand corner was red, the bottom left was yellow. And it sort of zigzagged in like teeth, red teeth on the yellow bit. And I thought it looked really cool, but I clearly used the wrong paint and it was all like really scratchy to hold. Felt horrible. And you used it a couple of times and it all peeled off of the back and stuff and just completely destroyed the pad. I hope
that's what your Xbox appalling. Controller looks like.
I think that's good. I'll put zigzags on it, Dad. Oh no! And it's it was horrendous. And then my sister did it. We gave the N64 to my sister, and she was obviously like, "Oh, that's what my brother did, so that's what I'm going to do." But she used like nail varnish instead of paint, so it was all just a big glob of shit all over but it just looked like someone sprayed super glue over it and waited for it to start peeling off. It was nice. Don't paint your own shit.
That's another episode title.
I know.
I was going to say
that's
yeah. I once, I don't think I've ever like broken anything. I remember once I took apart, those awful like LCD games we had back in the day.
Yeah.
And they were shit. I think I had like a Castlevania one, and there was nothing wrong with it. One day I was just like, I want to open this up and see what it's like on the inside, and figured if I just, I must have been like 7 or 8 or something, and just sort of figured, well, if I just remember how I took it apart and then follow the steps to reassemble it.
Oh, you didn't even have the YouTube shit. Fuck.
Well, exactly. I was like, what can go wrong? And and as far as I could, like, there was no panic whatsoever. Like, took it apart. I was like, all right, there's like circuit board, there's the screen. That's cool. Put it back together. No sense that anything was wrong, and it just wouldn't turn on.
Oh shit!
But obviously, again, no idea. Couldn't even begin to diagnose what I'd done wrong. So
it's one of those moments that once it's done, you're just like, so stupid. Why didn't I just stop myself?
Yeah,
and just go, this is a bad idea.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Where were my
idiot.
mum and dad when I was? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, no one stopped me.
Why have they given you a toolbox?
Yeah, why did I have a set of precision screwdrivers to open up my fucking...
The star-shaped ones. James, I bet you don't open anything up, I assume.
No, I mean, not consoles, but I mean, PCs. Like, I've done loads of damage with them in the past. Like, broken pins on CPUs, the whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
That's the Matt Murray special, isn't it?
I was going to say, I did that within the last 2 years, James.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep up, James. Matt.
Yeah.
I mean, my main one is the fact that I smashed the N64 controller playing the final boss of Diddy Kong Racing. That's always the one that comes up. And yet, I would still like to play a new Diddy Kong Racing just to see if it got me as angry. The thing that got me the most angry is just that when you collided with that final boss, it was just how fucking slow you drifted down to the ground. That was the thing
I didn't even see that. I hit start and reset like before it even. The moment it's like
if I went straight down to the ground, blew up, that'd be better. But it's just the fact I was like,
yeah, it is like
the worst, absolute worst.
Yeah.
And I've fucked up PCs in last year.
Yes, you have. Next question.
Oh dear.
Next question comes from Daisy's dad. He says, "Dear TCGS.core, blimey, governor. My question is..."
That's my favourite.
My question is not games related, but seeing as I turn to you guys for advice on all my life choices and not just video games, I know you can help. Actually, only Sean can help, so this one's for him. At the age of 32, my wife was only very recently diagnosed with having dyslexia. At no point previously in school or work had anyone picked up on this being a possibility, but due to difficulty with speech and recalling certain words, dyslexia, it turns out, is about much more than just difficulty spelling and reading. She got tested by the local dyslexia charity and was found that yes, it was highly likely that she had the condition. She's struggling to come to terms with how she feels with the diagnosis, coming as it does relatively late in life. I remembered that our very own Captain Toss went through something similar with his ADHD, and I think it would really help if he wouldn't mind explaining how he felt after getting diagnosed and how things have been different for him since. My wife seems to be feeling every emotion at once: relief, anger, confusion, frustration, making it really hard for her to compute and come to terms with, so any advice would be most welcome. Keep up the good work, and I look forward to seeing you all at the hopefully inevitable TCGS Con South. Yeah, it's a lot. It's the sort of the mitigating thing you always hear from like in ADHD circles, like people who've been diagnosed as adults, like the mitigating thing is always like, yeah, but even if you were, like, if I was diagnosed when I was 10, the understanding around ADHD was shit then anyway, so it wouldn't necessarily have helped. And I guess, dyslexia has been like known for longer, but possibly a similar thing.
Yeah, I think you're probably right, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, like he mentions, turns out it's much more than just difficulty spelling and reading. I didn't know that. I didn't realize it affected recall of words and speech and stuff. I mean, that's probably the hardest thing, is that you get the answer and you sort of, when you do process it eventually, it's like, right, cool, I can stop, like having a go at myself about the things I now know I especially struggle with. And you sort of figure that the people you tell will also do the same, but they still have a go at you for forgetting stuff and being like disorganized. But yeah, you just have to accept that, like, it's still better to find out later than never, which is not
I totally get the frustration though.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of like, how has this not been picked up on, and how would my life have been different had it?
Exactly, yeah. It's like, how could things have played out differently? And you remember the situations where people have thought that you were like thick or weird or whatever, and it's like, oh no, hang on, that was probably because of this. So you just
See, for
it's
me,
just about
it's
learning
because
to.
I'm thick and weird. Like, that's my problem.
Yeah,
well, it's also
that's
it's a
with David,
possibility.
isn't it? The diagnosis is he's thick and weird.
Yeah.
Shame.
I mean, thick and weird. That's not a bad episode title, is it?
We're really racking them up in the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, it's a mess. This week.
But basically, the key is to just focus on like forgiving yourself for those things, even if you can't go back and change them. At least you have the answer now. That's basically all I can offer. Right, last one. Lash Q says, I recently helped a friend move out of their second floor flat. Thankfully, their building had a lift, which made the job easier. During the process, I found myself channeling my recent Dark Souls 2 play-along with James by sending the lift back up, so when I ran up the stairs and was back at the lift with the fridge, etc., I wasn't waiting around for the lift to arrive. Have any of you ever found yourself applying things learned from games in real life? Or is this less to do with games and more to do with my subconscious need to be more like James every day?
Don't do that.
Yours unashamedly, James, close but no cigar, Lee.
I will say this, right, before we go into this question, there's nothing worse, is it? Helping someone move. Like, all of the moving's the worst thing ever, and doing it all for no benefit.
Like, for like the first half hour, or maybe the first hour, it's sort of, there's like
it's
a bit
fun,
of camaraderie
it's all
and
mucking.
what are we going to do for lunch? Yeah, it's quite good. And then it gets to like 3 p.m. and you're still waiting for them to get the phone call from the estate agent to say they've got the keys.
Yeah,
and you're like, well, I've got to go
still
soon. So
moving shit out. Your back's gone. Your arms are dead, and you're thinking, and the person that you're doing it for looks like they want to kill you not because they want to kill you, but because the whole thing is the most stressful thing ever.
Oh yeah.
It's the worst.
But on the flip side, that's a real show of a friend, isn't it? Because we all know how horrendous moving is. It's like one of the worst things you can do.
You know what I
so if
said,
a friend says, I'll help, you're like, my God.
Last time we helped someone, I said, that's it, I'm never doing this again. I said, I'm not going to ask anyone to help me move, and no, I'm not going to help anyone move. Like, so, that's a bad friend.
Yeah, after my last move, like, I'm paying for movers. I cannot do this ever again.
Yeah.
Like, one of my flat moves, I did it over the space of like 7 days because I had access to both flats or flat and house. I'm like, oh, brilliant, I've got a week. This is amazing. No, it's just a week of like moving everything very slowly.
When you get movers, though, you still got help, right? Like, there's still part of the back
you
of my
do
head.
that.
That's
You
like,
feel guilty. You feel guilty.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure they're going, listen, mate, you're fucking this up for us.
Yeah.
Like, we're very particular the way that we're doing this, right? Because we've done it so often. Please fuck off. But at the same time, you're like, do you need help with that, mate? I'll get that. Don't worry about that. I'll bring these ones down. And then Joe laughed at me, right? Because the only box that these movers didn't put in there was my Xbox Series X. I put it in the back of the car because I didn't want it to break.
Yeah, exactly, you're not playing games here.
She mentioned it to them, and they said, we saw. Don't trust them with this one. But, okay, sorry. The question, real world stuff that you've applied. Matt, you're going to do your drifting story again?
Well, I was trying to avoid it.
It's hard, isn't it? It's hard to think of other things. Yeah, I haven't really got one. I can't think of something that I've had that situation where I've been walking about. I've mentioned this before, where you're walking about after playing hours of Tony Hawk's and then just seeing the world in a completely different light.
Yeah,
you're like, I'll grind off that, jump down there.
Yeah, I did that to Hammer and Crackdown 2.
I had that with Assassin's Creed actually a long time ago, where it's like
Balahay.
Because I was down in Canterbury, as it were. There's lovely cathedral there. I was thinking I could climb that. I could,
East Kent Park. Assassinate someone right now.
Oh, bit of a disappointing end. We haven't really gone on.
Sorry, it was a funny question, so I thought I'd better read it out and didn't actually think of anything to say.
Okay,
for it.
That's it for this week. We've grinded to a halt on that. Right. Well, Algan, what do you think you waste your time on each week? Let's do that one from MD
Krabuffs. Yeah. What do you waste time on? I mean,
oh my God,
phone. I mean, I've got better. I've like basically removed all social media from my phone, which has been good.
My one's trying to learn how to solve any Rubik's Cube. I've been doing that for a week now.
How's that going?
There's one step that I need to memorise and I'm done.
Okay.
But I can get to a point where the first 2 layers are done completely. I can line up a lot of the top layer, but there's one step to make sure that all the centres line up on the top layer that I can't do yet. But once I nail that, I'm done. Me and Harry are doing it, watching a tutorial video, and I've solved it about 14 times now, but I always need the video for one step, because one false turn and you're fucked. But I'm getting there. I'm going to do it. I'm going to try and do that so I don't need the video. That's the plan.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
It's fun because they're so fucking hard to do. And to be able to know that I could just walk up to one and just solve it, like, no matter
what. So is that the end
game? Yeah, that's the end game. To memorise it and be able to just do it. Like, that's what I want to do.
Yeah, for all those Rubik's Cubes hanging around the place.
Yeah,
I know, but it's just, isn't that impressive? Someone just coming in and just solving a Rubik's Cube in front of you.
It's fucking magic to me. I can't, like, I mean, I enjoy puzzles, but something about it's Rubik's Cubes and those fucking sliding tile puzzles, and my brain just goes, nope.
Oh, I love those sliding tile puzzles. Have you seen Rubik's Cube Versus, the board game? Get that. It's fucking brilliant. Right, so what it is, you've got tiles. It's like a sliding tile game, like you mentioned. And what you do, you get this cube with loads of little cubes in it. You shake it, and it gives you like various different colours in different orders.
Right.
And you're facing someone, so you've got a panel each side, and then there's like a sort of a thing that sticks up in the middle of it, and you try and match that pattern. And the first one to do it and slam down the centre on their side wins. And it's really good fun. That we're going to buy that soon. We've been playing it around my brother-in-law's place. That is a good little game. That it's nothing like Rubik's Cube, but it's good fun. Sorry, but James.
Mine's.
Sorry.
James.
Go on.
No, what's yours, James?
Pokemon Legends recently.
Yeah, I was about to say that's just a quick answer there.
Yeah.
Matt, what was yours?
Mine's probably. Should we do socials?
Let's do the
I mean, that's not.
socials.
I mean, well, okay. 2 points. A, not a waste of time.
No, it's healthy if anything.
Yeah. Point B, how long do you spend doing it, Matt?
Let's move on.
Okay.
Oh, you've not heard this conversation.
This is bonus show material. Look, just
But Sean, Matt's got a whole fucking speech about this.
Really?
About how long? Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
looking forward to that.
That's
Got
all
a lot of things to say about it.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Next, let's do the socials.
Okay, Thursday, Sean, you're back, aren't you, for your Nuzlocke stream?
Yes, very excited. And just to say, it was really nice. Like, people were asking for it this week, and I sort of did feel a bit bad for not doing it. And it's just nice that people are looking forward to it. So I'm excited.
So that's this Thursday, Nuzlocke stock and 2 Slow King Barbrackles. That's at twitch.tv/TCGSco, Thursday night at 9 p.m. James, are you having a week off, or are you going straight into Little Hope?
I'm going straight into a House of Ashes or whatever it's called. Yeah.
Okay, of course, yeah. So there'll be, so Dark Pictures Anthology, whatever the latest one is, James is streaming that Friday night at 9 p.m. They're both, as I said, on twitch.tv/TCGS. If you miss them live, you can search for TCGS on YouTube and you can watch the VOD after that. But back on Twitch, if you're on Amazon Prime, you know what you've got. You've got Twitch Prime Gaming. Link the 2 accounts, and you get 1 free subscription that you can't keep for yourself. You've got to give it away.
Yeah,
We'd really love it if you want to have to our channel and give it to us.
And they could just give it to people.
Exactly, yeah.
You know, they always say there's no such thing as a free lunch, but those people don't have Twitch Prime Gaming accounts.
Yeah.
No, they don't.
If you pay
then they
£80
would
a
know.
year for Twitch Prime, you get a free lunch and or sub. And we really appreciate if you come to our channel, give it to us. We love that.
Cool.
Dark Calls, we're up to episode 32 or 38. We're very close to the end. Dark Calls this Friday morning. Bed of Chaos 2. James clearly struggled in Bed of Chaos last week, and he's back for round 2 this week. That's obviously not in this feed. Search for Dark Calls in your podcast player of choice. On the Epic Game Store, if you want to buy Sifu or any other game on the Epic Game Store, or if you buy like V-Bucks or Rocket League stuff on console, put in TCGS as a creator code and we get a very small kickback. Haven't actually looked whether anyone's actually done that yet, but I haven't got any notifications, so maybe
So
I might
probably
up
not.
there. Probably you do. But if you PC or consoles, put in TCGS and we'll might give us something back. Patreon.com/TCGS is a Patreon page if you want to support what we do over here, get exclusive podcasts, live talksovers, you name it. February's podcast, fingers crossed, will be a banger. And the website is tcgs.co for links to our socials, our podcasts, our beautiful Discord, and our store.
Thanks for living it. That's the end of this week's show. We will be back next week. Guest, Matt?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, we do have a guest.
Who's not here?
I don't know if we worked that one out yet, but we do have a guest. It's been a long time in the planning. We've got a guest. Very excited. Probably need to do one final confirmation, actually. But yeah, we've got a guest.
Okay, so we're not announcing it.
Let's have one final confirmation first.
Okay, fair enough.
It's been a while. We got this agreed so long ago that we should should probably say, hey, remember that?
Yeah. If not, it'll be us four again then. We will catch you next week. Have a good week.
Were you going to say fuck off then?
No, I was going to say thanks for living it, but then I remembered I've already said it.
Okay.
Goodbye, everyone. Fuck off.
Goodbye. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.